Doo, doo. Well, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, and good morning, everybody. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to another episode of The Morning Glow. Welcome to another episode of The Morning Glow. Got a great broadcast lineup for you this morning, as I hope we always do. You know I'm not important. My name is just Raheem, but we have with us Captain Leonard. Good morning. How you doing this morning, sir? Captain Leonard?
Good morning, in the morning, Glow family.
There you go. There you go. Thought we had lost you there, brother. Thought we had lost you. Man, tell us, catch us up to speed. Catch us up to speed on what's going on in the political world before we get started on this week. Because I know a lot of things happened over the weekend, man. What happened?
Well, of course, the most important thing still is the issue that's in Russia. You also still have issues related to the pandemic, but also you can't forget that there are a lot of important elections coming up. You saw a friend of mine have announced her run for various positions, so you need to start looking at those people who have
Mm-hmm.
shown interest in leadership now, so you'll be informed on who to vote for, and as well as finding a person whose campaign you can actually support.
Yes. Yes. Mm-hmm.
But definitely don't just, if you got a complaint, you should also be trying to find a way to get involved
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Because
because things are to get better unless better people get in these positions of authority. You got foolishness from Republican governors still running rampant, especially this idiot down in Florida. I believe that's DeSantis, right?
yes, the Santos. Uh-huh.
Yeah, he's just terrible for the
Mm-hmm.
state. And it makes the state look bad when its leader is so ignorant.
Mm-hmm.
Just like, for instance, that we deal with here in Georgia. Blatant disrespect for people's rights, uh, always under allegations and suspicions for fraud, doing things unethically, or what have you. People need to stand up because you're the only one that's able to stop it.
Mm-hmm.
Or
Mm-hmm.
else most of these people will continue to put forth bills that don't benefit anyone but a select few people. And those types of things that, say, for instance, if you're serving the people and you want what the people want,
Yes. Yes.
why are the things that you propose so detrimental to people's livelihood? For
Mm-hmm.
instance, or we talked about redistricting at one point.
Yes.
A whole commission created. It's set in stone in law on how it is to decide redistricting based on the census actually each year.
Mm-hmm.
But what has happened, people have who have been running for public office have taken it upon themselves to try to slant the elections in their favor, of course.
Mm-hmm.
So when we talk particularly about Gwinnett County, for example, where the commission was created to handle the redistricting, however, a person with a strategy that was committed to that strategy managed to get the map that they preferred that would
Mm-hmm.
better their outcome.
Mm-hmm.
People
Mm-hmm.
allow that to happen
Yeah. Yeah.
by allowing unethical people to occupy office. If you don't go vote for them, trust me, the person that is your opposition will definitely occupy that position.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Let me say good morning to Samsung, good morning to Gemini, and good morning to Terry. We got quite a few people that's coming in. I want to thank you all for joining us this morning. Definitely appreciate you all being here. Thank you for joining us. And if you want to be a part of the conversation, you want to be a part of the discussion, all you have to do is give us a call. The phone lines are open. Lord, I can't talk this morning. The phone lines are open. 508-924-3521. 508-924-3521. Give us a call. We love to hear you. Love to hear your input on what we're talking about. Leonard, I had a conversation with somebody over the weekend, and it was a very interesting conversation. It really was. Um, we was talking about why is it that we think crime is going up? Why do we think the crime rate is going up? Leonard, what's your take on that? Why do you think crime is going up higher than what it usually is right now? What do you think it is?
Well, first of all, you would never believe crime was going down. That's what.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Crime may seem to be going up simply because of who you're around.
Mm-hmm.
When people say crime is going up, are you sitting in your living room watching the television? Or did you just get mugged last night?
Mm.
Or did someone mug you last night? Or did
Mm-hmm.
someone mug a friend of a friend of a friend of yours last night?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Crime is increasing mostly in communities and things like that where there's normally crime at.
Mm-hmm. So
If
you
a
don't.
bunch of criminals get together, live together, and live with one another, guess what they do? They don't stop committing crime.
Mm-hmm. So you think
So,
it's pretty much at a, and good morning, Anthony. Good morning, Anthony Jones. Good to have you this morning. So you basically what I'm hearing you say is it's the same based on where you are. Is that
well,
what?
then also you have to add in, there's, as people increase as well, crime could spike for various reasons.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't think anybody has it down packed to say that either or why. However, we know when.
Mm-hmm.
We know that there's a higher tendency in crime during the summertime for a certain group of people.
Mm-hmm.
We know that crime could be a result of copycatting what you see on the social media.
Mm-hmm.
Are you watching more crime and things on television?
Well, Leonard, I think you
What
hit on
influence?
it right there when you said
Right.
when you brought social media into the thing, because I think a lot of people because of the fact that it's the age of the internet right now and there's so much going on and people could actually see, have access to be able to see and witness a lot of things that's going on via the internet. I think there may be a lot of copycatters. I think there may be a lot of things that's going on because of people. This whole situation where it's going around hitting people just out the blue. That's something that
And also,
huh?
I would also maybe think that what attributes to an increase in crime as well as the number of individuals that you see getting away with crime.
Mm, mm.
I mean, if the so-called law is committing more crime, why wouldn't people commit more crime?
Wow. Wow. Good morning, T-Bones. Good to have you this morning. You don't think it has anything to do with and I'm careful. I'm trying to be careful how I say this, but do you economics? People are some people are not making as much money as they used to make. Do you think it has anything to do with economics, or people just have to do certain things in order to get by? Do you think it has something to do with that?
Thieves are thieves. Thieves steal when they have and when they don't have.
Mm-hmm.
They steal because they enjoy stealing.
Mm, mm. Wow.
So
So
you don't have to steal food. You can't steal well, I wouldn't say you can't steal a house, but food, clothing, and shelter.
mm-hmm.
Those are the things that you need.
Mm-hmm. Now,
Now, a lot of people have told you in the past, I'm just trying to make it. I'm doing no, you're not. No, you're not.
mm-hmm.
You're doing what you want to do
Mm-hmm.
because you don't have to steal. That's just what you prefer to do.
Um, for the sake of argument, you don't think there are any people out there that feel as though they really have to, they not necessarily that they want to, but in order for the livelihood and survival of their family, they have to. Do you think that that element exists?
I'm I'm sure that's the lie they tell themselves.
Mm. Mm-hmm. Okay.
I don't know nobody that has to do it.
Mm-hmm.
The people I know who steal because that's their thing. They're
Mm.
thieves. I wouldn't expect them to do anything like.
Mm-hmm. That's who they are.
Yeah, that's just who they are. They prefer to steal things.
Mm. Mm. I though I do agree. There's a part of me that disagree that think because I've seen some people that's at the bottom of the bottom, and I've seen them having to go out there and do what it is they have to do, uh, just to make it, man. Just for the family to be able to survive. And so I've seen both sides, and you being from where you're from as well, I'm sure you've seen people that backs are against the wall. Am I gonna say?
No,
Am I gonna say that
no,
they have to? That they have to still? I don't know if I will even go that far. Say they have to, but I will say
no.
I've
I
seen
haven't.
people.
I haven't.
I've seen people that back is against the wall. I've seen people where their back is
Because
against the wall.
I'm sure that if their back was against the wall and you've seen them, you could have helped them, but they never thought to ask.
Okay, I can even accept that. I can accept that as well. But that I don't think that changed the fact that their back was against the wall. And sometimes, sometimes
Okay.
a person have a certain amount of pride within themselves that won't allow for
But
whatever reason.
you got so much pride you'd steal. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Hey,
Okay.
they say how to say sometimes and please understand me when I say this. I'm not condoning. I'm not saying that is right. I'm not saying that is right at all. As a matter of fact, I'll go so far as to say that is wrong. But at the end of the day, I know some people don't have the ration and the reason to deal with situations appropriately. Some people just don't have the ration to do that, and so they feel as though this is what I have to do. This is what I have to do. And again, I'm not gonna sit here at all and say that is right. I certainly won't do that. But what I will say is sometimes they feel as though they can't see another way. Leonard.
Okay. Call in.
Mm-hmm. 508
Let them call.
Yeah, exactly. 508-924-3521. 508-924-3521. Again, 508-924-3521. Good morning, Jesse. Good to have you. Good to have you. The phone lines are open. Give us a call. Tell us what you all think, man. Do you think sometimes and we're not sitting here trying to condone it. We're not gonna sit here and say that is right. And again, we can even go so far to say that is wrong. But have you seen people in situations where you could kind of understand? Okay, I can understand you going out there and doing this or doing that. I can kind of understand it. But at the end of the day, like I said, we're not going to condone it. We're not going to say that is right. But we will say that we can understand you doing what it is that you're doing.
I don't.
Leonard Vaughn, you went way on up on me. There you go. Leonard said he don't understand. He said he don't understand that scenario at all. But I can kind of understand. Again, not gonna co-sign it. Not gonna say it's right. I'm not gonna take them to do nothing wrong. I'm not gonna, if they come to me and ask me, I'm gonna tell them that is wrong. But a part of me can kind of understand if their backup is up against the wall and they've tried exhausted all avenues and nothing else works. These babies gotta eat. These bills gotta get paid. We're gonna be out there on the street or blah 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 blah. I've seen it, man. I've seen it. I've seen it, and it's rough. It's tough. It's rough on them streets, and I just said, Leonard, it's tough out there on them streets.
That's why you shouldn't be out there.
Yeah, a Trek. How that boy said from Naughty by Nature. He said it best. He said it best. If you don't know the ghetto, you don't understand the ghetto. Stay the bloop out the ghetto.
Right. That's the best thing for you.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But Leonard, you just turned another page on me, brother. You just turned another page. What do you say about and this is totally different. This is totally different, man. Everybody want to be for whatever reason, everybody want to be a thug. You got all these rap guys and stuff like that going out there pretending as though they're thugs, man. Then go home to their suburban homes. Paint a picture for the young kids that grow up in these beautiful homes, wonderful families, but they want to have this thug. They want to be this thug. Then what's the fascination of being a thug?
It's fun.
Mm.
It's entertaining.
It could be
It's
deadly,
it's everything you thought it would be.
and it could be deadly.
Yes. So like one, when you got people talking about faking this and faking that or what have you, the fakes get turned in sooner or later. It runs out. But now the reason why y'all kids attracted to them, I don't know.
Mm-hmm. How they the old saying goes in it? Fake didn't realize they were fake until real showed up.
That's what I'm saying. I mean,
Mhm.
we didn't have no reason about faking or what have you. Like I say, I'm from the
Mhm.
hood, so to me, it ain't that big of a deal.
Mhm.
It's not that big of a deal. I know that people exploit it for their own purposes.
Mhm.
And one, I'm not the one to sit around and call somebody fake or whatever, blah blah blah. Whatever happens, happens to them.
Mhm. And it will.
Eventually, yeah.
Mhm. It's gonna catch up to you. Don't
That's
come on
what.
here. Go ahead.
That's why I don't find no reason in faking this or faking that. You are who you are. You know,
Mm.
I don't have to tell you where I'm from and act like a certain way to convince you.
Mhm.
I know where I'm from.
Mhm.
It's not that big of a deal, and I think that we have allowed people to exploit that. And because there is some money at the end of that, people are going to do that.
And see, one of the things that amazes me. Good morning, Jamie. Is that Jamie? Yeah. Good morning, Jamie. Charisma. Good morning to you as charismatic. I'm sorry. Good morning to you as well. Um, what's amazing to me, what's amazing to me is the people. A lot of times, people that's in the hood or whatever you want to call it, terminology you want to use, want to get out, but the people that's not want to come in, and they don't understand that it's not a glamorous situation, man. This place will kill you. Them streets are vicious, man. They are vicious, but you got so many people. They got so many people out there, man. In the hood, they want to get out the hood, man. They doing everything they could do to get up out of there. They
No,
live
they're
there.
not.
A lot of people, Lynn. A lot of people don't want to be there, man. A lot of people don't want to be there.
Okay.
You think some people just want to be there?
Well, I know that
Talk.
a lot of people can get out, but they choose not to.
Mm.
Even
What?
when they move, even if they moved somewhere else, they go right to where they left. Same type of
Mm,
place. They'd look
mm,
for it. They'd
mm.
look for it.
Is it comfort,
Yes.
familiarity?
hmm
Wow.
Exactly. If you're a hustler, you don't move to the country. You move to the city.
Well, hey, I want to be like the Jeffersons and move on up to the east side.
Well, a lot of people. If you, I don't. That's why I don't judge people or whatever because I don't know why you're at where you're at, or I don't
Mm-hmm.
even know if some people, you automatically have this so sympathetic heart, and no, no, no.
Mm-hmm.
I go talk to people, find out, what's going on with them. I don't hold it against them where they at in their life. That's their business, not mine.
Mm-hmm. Leonard, I'm gonna ask you this question, and we spoke briefly on this.
Sir.
Good morning, Henny. I thought it was Henry. I'm sorry. Good morning, Henny. Good to have you, Henny. Um, Somebody in the hood,
hmm
they hit the lottery, $50 million. You think it's a wise idea for them to stay in the hood?
Probably not. I don't know why they would,
Mm-hmm.
because there's the ticket.
Mm-hmm.
So if you wind up right back where you came from or what have you, oh well, you blew it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's just, you know, it's a shame that people fight for lower standards.
Mm-hmm.
That concept is wild, man.
Yeah.
That when everything is there and opportunities are there or what have you, it's your fault for not taking advantage of it. That's just
Mm-hmm.
how I feel about it. I'm not going to shove
Mm-hmm.
opportunity down your throat.
Mm-hmm. Because the way I see it, if a person are in that situation and they win that $50 million, and if they select to stay in that hood, in that ghetto, if you will, they're gonna get got, man. Somebody gonna get them.
Well, I think if you're in the hood, you're aware of that
Mm-hmm.
because you live there.
Mm-hmm.
You know what goes on there.
Mm-hmm.
So your security is going to be at risk
Mm-hmm. Immediately.
immediately.
So basically, what you're saying is go collect your money and keep going. Don't
Yeah,
even whatever you left, whatever it back there, leave it back there. You don't need it. You
keep it
don't need it.
pushing.
Keep
Keep
going.
it pushing if you get the opportunity to do so.
Yeah, yeah. Hmm. But you have some people, and you spoke about this earlier. The
Hmm.
loyalties is to that hood. I'm gonna go back and make my neighborhood better. I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna uplift my neighborhood.
Ain't
I
nothing
got
wrong with that at all.
no. But my thing is this right here, and my point is this: you can't save anybody that don't want to be saved. Just like you said earlier, sometimes people just
Exactly.
don't. Sometimes people just don't want to be saved.
Mm-mm.
Sometimes you're fighting a losing battle trying to help somebody that don't want to be helped.
Right.
You got a wino or a drug addict or something like that don't want any help, and you're
Mhm.
doing everything you can do to help them. Before you know it, either you're gonna be right there with them, or you're gonna be without everything that you have, because
Right.
they're gonna take you. They're gonna take you for everything you got.
Especially if they're the stronger person.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Especially if they're the stronger person.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah.
Because just because a person has a problem with alcohol and things like that does not to me anyway doesn't devalue them.
Mm-hmm. No.
You just
No.
have an alcohol problem.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But see, my thing is, and I told this story before too. There's this family, everybody know I grew up in Greensboro, North Carolina,
Hmm.
and it was a guy, man. He had a beautiful family, man, wife and two kids, little boy, little girl. He worked for the post office. She was a nurse, and he's always, for whatever reason, stopped by the little store, the Curry Market store down the street there, pick up what he gonna pick up and go on about his business. Well, we know at some of the stores, man, that's where all the activity go down. That's where the boys be hanging out at.
Hmm.
They be hanging out at that store, man, and they gonna do their little deals, whatever, and keep it moving.
Hmm.
That's the little hot spot. Somebody got to whispering in his ear, talking to him, introduced him to crack, introduced him to us. Said, "Look at man, no, don't worry about it, man." And the story is they gave him his first hit for free. Yeah, man, here, go ahead on, just try this, man. See what you think about it. You stressed out and blah blah blah, man. Try this. This gonna help you. Before you know it, man, he was through selling the children toys out the house and everything, man. They had their house built. I remember the neighborhood when it developed this neighborhood. They had his house built from the ground up, man. Got caught up. Got caught up one time. That's all it took. He was hooked. He was hooked. And I tell that long story to say this, man. It's very. Do I want to say easy? Do I want to say it?
I don't know what you want to say, right?
But my thing is literally, people could get caught up, man. People could get caught up real quickly. And like I said, this dude, man. Good morning, Tiffany. This dude, man. He had a beautiful family, man. Beautiful family. Like I said, wife and two beautiful kids. And somebody gave him his first hit. And next thing you know, man, he out there selling the children toys out of the house because he just want to get another hit. He worked for, like I said, he worked for the post office, and they had, I guess, they got this little program. They want to take him to a program. The post office want to take him.
Employee assistance program.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know what it's called, but they offered him that. They offered him help, and it got so bad, man. They gave up on him, man. He lost his job, family, and the wife had no choice, I guess, at that point, because he got so deep in that hole, man. In order to save the family, she had to disregard him, man, and he had to go.
Mm-hmm.
And I say all that to say, man, people think the hood, think the ghetto, and all this stuff, think it's all glamorous, man. They live, if you live in your suburbs and you got a beautiful home and stuff like that, family that's there trying to take care of you and put you in the right path, you might want to listen. You go on that hood you want to, man. Like I said earlier, Trent said it best, man. If you don't know the ghetto, stay out the ghetto, because the ghetto's won't fix you.
And also, there's plenty of decent families that live in the ghetto as well. Where
Absolutely.
you live where you live is not who you are.
Absolutely. I agree with that 110% because I met some of them. I
I
met
was
some of
born and
them.
raised in the hood. Never had an
Mhm.
issue. Never thought I was less than or what have you.
Man, listen, I grew up right there in the hood, brother. So I know
Yeah,
it's some beautiful families there.
exactly.
It is some beautiful family. I don't want nobody to think that there isn't because yes, and I'm glad you pointed that out, man. Yes, there is, but there's also that other element.
Hmm.
There's also that other element. Tiffany Real, good morning. How you doing this morning?
Hi. Being in the
All
hood doesn't make you a hood rat, sir. And there's a lot of people in the suburbs that are on drugs and stuff like that. There's a lot of CEOs, there's a lot of executives that are
right.
on drugs. Some are functioning addicts. I don't know what your topic is about, but we gotta get out that mentality that it's a hood thing because it's not.
No. What we're saying is a lot of times you got the rappers out here, and what they'll do, they'll glamorize the hood, and then they go to their big suburban homes and they paint these pictures of the young kids' lives, thinking that is this, is that, is that, but they don't even live in the hood, man. They moved on up to the east side, but they're painting this picture, and we're telling people that the hood, the hood that you're trying to go to, if you come from a good family and stuff like that, the hood that you're trying to go to, a lot of people in the hood trying to get out the hood. Why do you have so many people that's not in the hood trying to go to the hood because they don't understand what's going on? Trent said it best, man. That hood gonna eat you up. That hood will eat you up if you don't know what you're doing. You go hit them streets thinking you know something, think you educated, think you good. You're not good, man. The hood it will have a tendency to eat you up, spit you out, and leave you there, right there. What
But
you said?
how many of these rappers would have record deals if they didn't do that?
I don't think that's the point. I understand what you're saying, and you're making a very good point. But that's not that's not my place of emphasis. I'm just trying to right now. I'm trying to talk to the young people and tell them, to get it together, to get it together. I
Well,
understand what
it's
you're
hard.
saying.
It's hard. It's hard to tell kids to get it together. When back. Okay, I'll say before hip hop or whatever. When I was growing up, the man was the man.
Mm-hmm.
If a man came around, if we were going to school, we were on the city bus, and a black man came on the city bus. If we was acting up, we straightened up because a black man was in the room on the bus, or if we were in the room playing around and stuff like that, and an adult came in, we gave that adult respect. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? But a lot of people don't have that.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of the roles have been reversed. The man has been taken out of the home. The man has been emasculated to where people don't respect that man. So now the man is money. People respect money. People want to get that money. They're not trying to, people don't even really care about having a father anymore. You know what
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying? People worrying about getting that bag. Women are teaching their kids to prostitute themselves, men and the boys and the girls. And you willing to do whatever you got to do for money. I remember growing up because I grew up in a two-parent household for the most part, and well, I did grow up in a two-parent household, and I remember people being allegedly poor, but they had all the name brand clothes, they had all the jewelry, they had the Michael Jackson jackets, they had everything. So it's like, how do you live in the projects? Because I didn't live in the projects, but it
Mm-hmm.
seemed like they had more stuff than I did.
Mm-hmm.
So my thing is, you raising people, you robbing Peter to pay Paul, as they say, so that you look like the Joneses and stuff like that. I mean, what is a person to do? You glamorize in the hood.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
I mean, what you gonna do?
And see, and that's the part of it right there. I love how you ended that. You're glamorizing the hood. But like I say, at the same time, I have to say and I have to admit that there are some good in the hood. There's some good in the hood, man. There really
Yeah.
is. But at the same time, you got to understand, like me and Leonard was saying before you came on, excuse me. There's also that other element, and that's the part that people have to be aware of. That other element. Now, there's some pieces of the hood, just like and we say in the hood because that's what we're talking about. But those same elements can exist in the suburbs. Those same elements could exist in that boardroom. And so we're not saying we're not trying to make it point as though we just pointing the finger at the hood, like blah blah blah. But that's what we're talking about right now. That's why we emphasize on that part. But to your point, that same elements can be somewhere else. But I think if you're not careful, that hood will eat you up and swallow you and spit you out all in the same second. Nina, what's on your heart?
You know, just listening, because people had their own different points of view on what
Mm-hmm.
it is. Like I said, one, I'm from 48601. If you look at all the statistics for 48601, you would look on the outside and call people poor.
Mm-hmm.
I was in the hood, but I had what I needed.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it didn't matter to me. It might have mattered to somebody else, you know, where I was from or this, that, or the other. But I don't tell other people's stories, but I've been hearing this narrative about the poor ever since I was a kid. And what I
Mm-hmm.
figured out at an early age is some people be running their mouth and don't be knowing what they be talking about. And some people
Mm-hmm.
be painting a picture of people that is completely unfair, and you
Mm-hmm.
do it to exploit for your own benefit.
Mm-hmm.
You
Mm.
know, it's a shame that one, people create these narratives and don't even talk to the people that they have created the narrative about.
Wow. Wow.
You got
Mm.
some people, like right now, when it comes to entertainers, and you look at it, why are you talking about being poor? You've
Mm-hmm.
been rich longer than you since you was a kid.
Mm-hmm.
So this fascination with being poor, I don't know what that is about, or how rough it is when when you don't do anything. You know, you can tell when somebody's telling a lie.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you ain't got to go out of your way to do nothing. If you poor, trust me, you ain't got to go out of your way to prove to people you poor or you were
Mm-hmm.
poor.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, I just look at the story they tell, or the person telling the story. You can employ me to tell your story,
Mm-hmm.
paint you a nice little picture, make you a movie, get you in front of news, do all that. But that's your story, man. I'm just here to help you get your story out. It's not
Mm-hmm.
my story. It's your story. It's like with homeless people. You better go talk to the homeless first before you get to making assumptions about the homeless.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I don't have no problem sitting in the park with homeless people, kicking it, playing chess, you know, just messing around, kicking it or what have you. I don't think of people as less than like that. I
Mm-hmm.
kick it with anybody, kick it with me. You know what I'm saying? So it's when I hear people telling these stories, I was like, okay, let me go find out if it's true or not.
Mm-hmm.
Or one, let's go see what homeless people really need before we impose certain things on them.
Wow.
Or one, like say for instance, the neighborhoods and ghettos or what have you. Usually, ghettos are symbolized by what? Low income individuals. There's
Mm-hmm.
crime and things like that. We have a great machine that keeps that in front of you every single day. They use it
Mm-hmm.
as a justification for programs and policies and things of that nature. And one, even a lot of the programs, like you say, trying to get out. Everybody ain't trying to get out.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody ain't trying to get out. Where would they go? Some people don't know nothing else, like being institutionalized. You got cats be in jail and come out for a little while, get too tough. Guess what? They'll do something and go back to jail
Mm-hmm.
because that's what they know if they've been institutionalized too long. So this is why I have a lot less sympathy than a lot of other people for things, because we know exactly how it happens. This is no surprise. There's no surprises in the
Mm-hmm.
hood. Zero surprises.
Wow. Wow. Tiffany, I saw you nod your head in approval to some of the things that Leonard was saying. What's on your heart?
I mean, the hood is a state of mind. Even, even in the suburbs, you got people that seem to have it all, but they still want that hood element, because it's exciting. I take myself, for instance. We grew up on the south side, but we lived in a house, right? We
Mm-hmm.
had a
Mm-hmm.
fireplace, a chimney, and all that other stuff on the surface. I wanted to go to the projects so bad because I heard so many things about the projects. You know what I'm saying? The shootings and stuff like that. And, all my friends lived in the projects. They lived in Brick City.
Mm-hmm.
So finally, I'm able to go to the bricks and nothing happened. I
Mm.
was so disappointed. I was so
Mm.
disappointed. But it's just like the movie See Before with Chris Rock.
Mhm.
You
Uh-huh.
know, the kids in the suburbs when those songs came out and stuff like that, the kids wanted the white kids wanted to be like the hood, you know what I'm saying? The hood kids,
Mhm.
they wanted that swag and stuff like that. But what Leonard was saying about the homeless and stuff, he's right. Like, you got to know the stories. You know,
Mhm.
I'll never forget one Thanksgiving down at Centennial Park Drive. There's a men's homeless shelter. And I went, and there were people serving that day. And every everybody except me would go and give them their plate and then go stand by the wall. They wouldn't interact. You know, they would say
Mhm.
hi or whatever, give them their food, and then go stand by the wall. And I'll never forget, after we served all the food, I asked if I could, sit at the table with them. And they were like, "You want to sit with us?" And I said, "Yeah, I want to sit with you guys." And I sat. I was the only one that sat and had conversations with these men. And it was white men, black men, whatever. And everybody else did their job and they were standing by the wall. Some people were homeless because they aged out of their jobs. You know what I'm saying? They had been at their jobs 20, 30 years, and they didn't have the skill to do something different, or they were too old. And even though you're not supposed to discriminate, they were being discriminated because of their
Mhm.
age. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Some were homeless because of drugs. Some were homeless for a lot of reasons. Some were homeless because of mental issues. But the
Yeah.
people with the mental issues, they said they'd rather be on the streets than in the institutions because of how they're treated in the institutions. They feel safer
Mhm.
on the streets. And then you have some people who just don't want to be a part of the American system, paying bills and doing all that other stuff. They want to be free, so they live on the streets and they know how to survive. And you can't judge that. So I always look to the homeless with a great amount of respect, because if something was to ever go down, they're going to be the ones that survive because they already surviving with
Mhm.
nothing.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Exactly. Better turn to them and find out what you need to do. Because they definitely wouldn't know. Toya with a T, good morning. How you doing this morning?
Good morning, good morning. How you doing?
Hey, doing good, doing good. Toya, we're talking about the hood, and we're talking about a lot of times, and we just the rappers a lot of times they'll paint this picture of being in the hood and spending time in the hood when they don't really live in the hood at all. They actually go to their expensive, nice suburban homes, but they're painting the picture, and the young people are gravitating to this thing, thinking that it's glamorous, thinking it's glamorous to be in the hood. Now, we're not gonna sit here and say that the hood is a terrible place, because, like we said earlier, there's some great people that's in the hood too. There's some great people that's there, but also there's this other element that you don't want to deal with in the hood. Tori, what do you say to that?
I don't know, cause the hood is the infant neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
So we got this thing. I guess that hood's supposed to mean something different than what we think, cause it don't.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody got their hood.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody rep they set their hood. China, Russia, you name it. Everybody got hood. So let's not come at an angle like, I don't know. I'm feeling blackish with this hood thing. Like you trying to lead it kind of toward our way. Hey, that's not the case. Now
Mm-hmm.
we want to talk about maybe like a ghetto, something like that. This specific meaning of, hey, we all broke around here. Projects. You know what I'm saying? Like everybody got his thing, but I don't think we really like give clarity to the hood like we should. But
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
so I'm from the projects,
Mm-hmm.
and it's life. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what we mean. Like when we rap about life, we rap about life. It's not about glory. It's about the life we live.
Mm-hmm.
No matter where we live on this earth, it is to be good, to be great. Whether you're in Fourth Ward, Louisiana, or the projects of Brooklyn. You know what I'm saying? So I don't think it's being glorified, but it's being told the truth of the streets, basically in a nutshell.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, that's just a part of life. It's not about it being glorified. Glorified. It's just a part of life. It's where you're from. You know what I'm saying? It's like if Akon was to start rapping about running from zebras and chimpanzees. Oh yeah, that's my hood. Yeah, but all of Africa ain't like that. So let's not start thinking, just because this is my hood, that it means a certain thing. You know what I'm saying? As far as kids believing in it, why the rappers got more influence than you anyway? My father didn't even listen to rap, but rappers didn't have more influence than my father. So I was taught things through him when it came to the hood, and we make the hood. People get on my nerves talking about a hood, but who make the hood? The hood ain't just there by itself. So every time you want to be ratchet, raggedy, don't want to do what you're supposed to do, no matter what color you are, that's what make it this so-called perception we're looking for, this hood perception. But see, it don't have to be like that. We make it the hood.
Okay, and that's absolutely true. We do. Individuals are the ones that make it the hood. But at the same time, you have some great people, and we spoke about this part of this well. There are some great people that's in that quote unquote that hood. You have some great people that's there that want to do good and want to do the right thing and want to make it great. But to balance of life, there's also the other element in there that just don't care. And we said, and Tiffany, she brought it to the point. We said the hood because that's what we're talking about right now. That could be in the boardroom. That could be anywhere. There's always going to be some kind of element that don't want the best for everybody involved. And if we're talking about the hood, we're talking about the hood. We're talking about the boardroom. We're talking about a Fortune 500 company, or whatever. There's always going to be the element in there that's not for the best or the betterment of everybody. And that's the part that's the part that has a tendency to destroy. I see you, Tiffany. That's the element that has a tendency.
And also, Raheem, I think you have to understand a point that people be really missing as it relates to this issue about the hood. It depends on where you want to be. Everybody, like say for instance, when you go home, where do you go? You know what I'm saying? When I go home ain't like it used to be.
Yeah,
I remember it, but you know what? It passed on just like everything else. There's a whole bunch of new characters there now.
Yeah.
So I think what the travesty of it all is the fact that people have used it the wrong way. There are some people, how some of y'all grow up in places that y'all don't mind staying. I come from a place that's no, man. I got to get out of here first thing smoking. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's just, you got some people like one. How often do people just strike up and move from Los Angeles to move to where I'm from? Nobody. You know what I'm saying? I hear how tough other places are, but I bet you not moving where you from to where I'm from. So I mean, who desires to live in places where there's a higher amount of crime? Who goes there to live?
Who search it out?
Yes, no one.
Absolutely.
No one. It's where you're at. And you choose what you get caught up into.
Absolutely. 508-924-3521. 508-924-3521. Tiffany, what's on your heart, sis?
I lost my thought, but I will say that
write it down. Write it down.
Yeah, because I'm old. But it's sad that we don't choose to fix the hood, but we will leave. And even back in the day, people would bus their kids to another school, a better school, than to fix the schools that was in their area. Now, me per se, with my children, I wanted them to be around Black people. So my daughter, my oldest daughter, I had her in a college prep school, but I wanted the kids to be around their peers, so I wasn't shipping them all over the place so they can be around Caucasian Asians all the time and stuff like that. I don't want them growing up being afraid of Black people. You need to be around your people. You need to be around certain elements. You know, when my daughter, she's 24 now, when she was in kindergarten, she was well advanced over the kids in her class, and they wanted her to be put up to be with in like first or second grade, and I said no, she needs to be with her peers because I don't want her growing up too fast. So
Mm-hmm.
what they did is they had somebody from oh my god, what's the name of that college? Oh my god, it's a college in, I'm sorry, Lemoyne College, I think
Mm-hmm.
it's called, in Syracuse, New York. And they had somebody come and work with her every day.
Mm-hmm.
And she was able to stay in her class with with the kids. But, you know, I refused to move her up because you have to grow up around, you know, you have to grow up around your peers. You're not better than anybody or anything. And I'm going to make sure that you have the best. But the best started with me. You know, before they went to school, I would get the little kindergarten paper, and they
Mm-hmm.
would have to write their whole names like in the lines neatly. And I taught them. I sat for hours every day and I would teach them to write their whole names. So when they went to school, they knew how to write neatly in the line and stuff. They came and did their homework. If it wasn't neat, I make them go and redo the whole thing over. It starts in the home. Like I
Mm-hmm.
said, being in the hood doesn't make you a hood rat. You know what I'm saying? You have to want the best for not only yourself but your family, because now I have a son. I got 7 kids, 3 grandkids, and an ex-husband. You
Mm-hmm.
know, I had my first child when I was 17. Nobody expected me to have successful kids. You know what I'm saying? Because you're a teenage parent. Not only are you a teenage parent, but you got a hell of a lot of kids. You know what I'm saying? Even though I didn't have baby daddies all over the place, you still a young girl with a whole bunch of babies, and nobody had high expectations. But every single one of my kids, I'm happy to say, there's no teenage pregnancies. Everybody has their shoot. My oldest ones, they have their own businesses. The other ones are in college working. I have one that goes to a HBCU. He goes to school and he works at FedEx. Got a job at UPS as soon as he got out of high school. And my baby boy, he's in a duo program, a junior in high school and a college freshman. So it's
Mm-hmm.
not where you live at. You know what I'm saying? It's not where you live at, because you got rich people who are doing poorly because they're
Mm-hmm.
lacking something at home. They're not getting attention. So they doing drugs and stuff like that because nobody's paying attention. All they have is money.
Mm-hmm.
They
Good
don't have
deal.
nothing else.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Absolutely. Let me go to Cassandra. Cassandra, good morning. How you doing this morning?
Good morning.
Cassandra, we're talking about we're talking about the hood, but at the same time, we know that there's elements, and we're talking about the hood because that's what we're talking about. But we know that there are certain elements in all walks of life, suburbs, Fortune 500 companies. They have some elements that just don't want the best for everybody. But right now, we're talking about the hood. You got your young folks, man, that's getting a bad taste of what they think is reality from a lot of these rappers that's rapping about being in the hood and blah 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 when they actually live in the suburbs somewhere in a big fancy beautiful home somewhere. There is, like I said earlier, there are some good elements in the hood. There's some great people in the hood, but Cassandra, there's also that element in the hood that will eat you up, spit you out, and leave you right there. Cassandra, what's on your heart?
Yeah, I mean, and we've not always had that, because at one point, the black community, I know even when I was growing up, we looked out for each other. You know what
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
We didn't allow a whole bunch of trash going on. You know, we cared about our hood.
Mm-hmm.
Now I feel like a lot of communities, first of all, people don't even know each other. They ain't trying to know each other. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And it's taken away. And not gentricide, I'm sorry. Gentrification has literally put uh, so much, so many other people in our neighborhood that we're losing our hood. And
Mm-hmm.
where are these people going? It's a lot of elements to it, but I think that yeah, for our own, we do. I always say this: we do more damage in our hood than anyone else does. I
Wow.
grew up in the hood; it was not like that.
Mm-hmm.
We stuck together. We looked out for each other, for our
Mm-hmm.
neighbors.
Absolutely.
So it's a different time.
It is. You got that right. It certainly is. Cassandra asked a question earlier, and I'm gonna pose this question. We got Curtis and Toussaint on the line. I'm gonna come to them as well. Cassandra, if someone lived in the heart of the hood and they won a $50 million lottery, would it make sense for them to get up out the hood, or should they stay there?
What? I mean, we know what people are going to do. Of course, they're going to move out of the hood.
Mm-hmm.
But my thing is, you could really do a lot of good in the hood. You could, do some renovations, maybe purchase some of the homes and, make them better, a better living. $50 million could do a lot of good.
Mm-hmm.
And I know you got to take care of you and yours. I'm not talking about that. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
For $50 million, you can live the rest of your life comfortably on $50 million and help a whole bunch of other people.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, and see, that's once again, that's just me. That's what I would do. I can't talk for other people, but I would stay in the hood more than likely. I'm saying that now. More than likely, I would stay in the hood and try to use that $50 million to build up my neighborhood.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's good. That's good. Toussaint, what do you say to that, brother? If you're in the hood, talk to me about the hood, Toussaint. And if somebody was to win that $50 million lottery, should they stay there? Toussaint, good morning. How you doing this morning?
I'm all right. Good morning. DC is in the hood. I mean, the capital. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
that's what I say.
Yeah.
They tell you specifically when you go there, don't stray off.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, it's just the surroundings, I guess, that makes whatever the people want to call the hood. Depends on who's talking.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes, well, most of the time, let's just put it me. You would have to set it up to the point where you still have to monitor it, because some people tear up everything they get.
Mm.
Don't make no difference what you give them. You can give them a brand new car. Wait for 6 months. If they got hubcaps or rims, they didn't scrape it all up on the sidewalk. They didn't tore up the front end, and they got chips and dips and everything else inside the car, and it just look a mess. And you say to myself, wait a minute, it's a brand new car. What's that smell?
Mm.
And then they'll go to some people's houses. That some people, you think they have it going on, but they have a, per se, hood type mentality, whatever that is. Depends on who's talking again. They ride well, but you go to their house and they live terribly. I don't want to use their bathroom. I'm not eating in their kitchen.
Mm-hmm.
Because they come and go, and actually what they do is they show an outward appearance that ain't true.
Mm.
Because you think, man, boy, they got it going on. They riding good, they dressing good, but they might go to Red. I'm just using this an example. They go to Red Lobster, but their children eat cereal.
Mm. Wow.
Yeah, and they good about it. I mean, really, you check it. I mean, people live for somebody else to think they got it going on, but actually they don't.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
But for instance, and I say this and I said, I don't go home no more. Parents passed away. I got one brother there, and at one time, our services, Louisiana, based on the percentage of people that were there, they were the #1 murder case.
Mm.
They kill you. I had a friend, me and him and others went there. He said, I don't never want to go there no more. Because we went to the hood of that little town. And when you go to where you say down the bottom, you know that there's some drama going on.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway,
Exactly. Curtis, good morning. How you doing this morning?
Morning, fam. Morning. What's going on with you?
Hey, we talking about the hood this morning, Curtis. What's on your heart, brother?
Well, not too much, man. The hood is the hood. What do you mean?
Mhm. If
Yeah.
you if you knew someone
What you
if you knew someone in
go
the
ahead,
hood
Paul?
if you knew someone in the hood, man, that won a $50 million lottery, would it be to their best interest to stay there or to move out of that hood?
Well, you know, people gotta do what they're comfortable with.
Mm-hmm.
If, you know, and how do you do that? You gotta do that understanding what type of comfort have you built. You understand what I'm saying? Because you got some people that will win that same lottery. They better move.
Mm-hmm.
They better move. Because they done did some things to so many folks that to rob them of their riches is you know, that's an extra bonus.
Mm.
You know, so you know, I wouldn't be mad if somebody won and moved out of the hood. I mean, I wouldn't be bothered by it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I I mean, if I was still in the hood, you know, and I won that money, like Cassandra said, I would definitely put a bunch of money into the hood. So if I was still in the hood, I would move out. But don't get it twisted. I would have a major investment in my hood. Like I tell myself all the time, you know, when the day comes and God bless me with this money from this acting or directing or however he decided to bless me with this money, when he decided to do that, I'm going to my hood and buy a whole bunch of stuff, rebuild a whole bunch of stuff. You see what
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying? Because they need it. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, sometimes, you know, I hate to always be biblical, but you know, the Bible tells us the poor will be with you forever.
Mm-hmm.
Just because they say the poor will be with you forever, that don't mean the poor that's here got to stay, you know, got to live in a constant state of poverty. Like that's not our job. Is you know, our job is to do unto others as we will have them do unto you. You know what I mean? So,
Mm-hmm.
you know, if you got a little extra, you know, you share, man. You look out for your kinfolk. You know, so that's just my opinion, man. I'm not trying to knock anybody else's thought, you know, or anybody else's process, but that's just my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
That's
I
good.
believe that when you have or when you come up, um, when you have a come up, you know, you try your best to help somebody else come up.
Mm-hmm.
When you have a come out, you try your best to help somebody else come out. If you out already, then it behooves you. You have a responsibility to help
Mm-hmm.
somebody else out.
Mm-hmm. That's good. That's good. 508-924-3521. 508-924-3521. Toya, is everybody responsible for the hood? Because everybody's saying that they would go back and they would do this and do that and try to uplift the hood, which I think is a very honorable thing. I would do the same thing. But is everybody responsible for the hood?
Absolutely, we are. You know, and it's it's this thing that old people say. Oh, Medea might have said it too. Whoever you is when you broke won't be the same person you be when you got money.
Mm-hmm.
So we're not trying to feed and clothe and do nothing right now with what we got, with the little 30, 40, 50, 60,000 we make.
Mm-hmm.
We ain't gonna do it when we get me.
Yeah.
You're
Yeah.
not gonna do it. You're not doing it. No. You know what I'm saying? But everybody has the right to their own little thing, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
I think the premise is that if you're in the hood, you need to move if you get a lot of money. But you know, you don't have to. You can do what you want to do. Depends on the connection you have with the hood.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? You can say you're gonna go back and do things, but are you really? You know, we are all responsible, especially if that's where we come from. Now, where are we at? Atlanta. So so let me say somebody. Kurt. Okay, so Curtis is in another state.
Mm-hmm.
Is he responsible for Snellville? No. Where I live at in prison? No. Jonesboro? No. Kirk can only do what he can do up there where his hometown is or where he currently resides, which may not be his hometown. He might move to Beverly next year. Doesn't mean that he's responsible for Philly, wherever he's from. Kinda in a way, but then where he moves to, he has a responsibility there too. Like, so when you was in Philly, you acting like a donkey, just ratchet. Now you're in Beverly Hills. Oh, now you gonna act like you got some sense. Oh, you not gonna throw trash out the window now. You know what I'm saying? So it is all of our responsibilities where we are, but then it's like we got to still worry about our porch. You know what I'm saying? I can go back to New York and do a lot too, but I'm kind of from both places. So that don't mean, oh yeah, I love Atlanta and everything I can put back means I can act like I got some sense in Atlanta, but when I go back home, I can act a monkey. No. It's about being a human being and about being responsible and about the power that we have as humans. And yes, it is all of our responsibility to take care of this world. And yes, your immediate hood, where you at, where you reside, or where you from, it's our job, period, to do what we can with our control when we see disparities. It's no one else's, it doesn't, oh, I done lived in Brooklyn. Brooklyn done did me bad. So let Brooklyn fix Brooklyn. Well, I disagree because everybody got that mentality. If the judges, the mayors, the prosecutors, the street sweeper, if everybody got that same mentality, then what you think that hood gonna look like? What that hood gonna represent? Nothing but disparity, and nobody really want to do their job. You know what I'm saying? So yes, it is important that all of us, that it's all of our responsibility to take care of our hood. So at the end of the day, it's only going to happen because we come taking care of our world.
That's good. That's good. Tiffany, what's on your heart? It's right there. That button right there. No, push that button right there. There you go.
I was on the screen, another screen, sir. I understand what we're saying and everything, but I also, think about, the drug dealers coming in and they giving out turkeys every, on the holidays and stuff like that. And yeah, we should take care of our own and stuff like that. But when do you want to take care of yourself? Because, you living in certain circumstances, what is your responsibility? People always want to tell people what to do with their money and they need to give back and stuff like that. But how many people have given back and the hood is in the same condition? How many programs have been created, but the hood is still in the same condition? I don't never see long lines at the what is it? Oh my gosh. I don't never see long lines at the place to get a job. What's that place called?
Unemployment office.
Labor.
I don't never see long lines at the unemployment office, but I remember when East Point was giving out applications for Section 8. I mean, you would have thought it was a parade. So, you can't, money is not going to save people and it's not going to solve the problem. The problem that needs to be solved is mental. You know what I'm saying? You give people cash, what are they going to do with the cash? You know what I'm saying? Like for us, like reparations. Do Black people deserve reparations? Of course we do. But mentally, what are the majority of the people going to do with the reparations? Give it right back to them because we're going to get the cars, we're going to get the houses, we're going to get the drugs, we're going to turn up, we're going to do all these things, the jewelry and stuff like that. The mindset has to change. When I grew up outside of Syracuse back in the day, it was a diverse neighborhood. And everybody took care of their lawns. We were neighborly. If somebody needed something, we looked out for each other. Now you go to that same neighborhood and you're lucky if you come out alive. You know what I'm saying? It's different. So, we keep talking about our obligation as people, especially if we get money, but what's going to happen if the mindset's not the same? You know what I'm saying? Just because you get money, let's talk about these rappers and stuff like that for a second. Just because they're instant millionaires doesn't mean that they have instant logic. If you
Mhm.
have a hood mindset, you're gonna have a hood mindset. Look at these kids, they on Instagram with 1 million, that they got money cell phones, taking pictures with money cell phones, not realizing that they're putting themselves in a vulnerable position because you're showing a whole bunch of people who have nothing that you got a lot of everything. And then the next thing you know, they turning up dead somewhere. You know what I'm saying? It's
Mhm.
it's the mindset that needs to change. The money's not going to help until the mindset changes, because we
Mhm.
just going to keep
Right.
going around in a revolving circle.
Mhm. Cassandra?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um. Okay. Um. I. Yeah. I pass.
What?
I'll pass. I'm just listening. I'll pass.
Okay. Leonard,
What?
how you doing? What's on your heart, man?
Not a whole lot as it relates to this issue, because the
Mhm.
very simple fact that, one, I don't glorify or try to demonize people in any way when it comes to this type of thing. You are
Mhm.
where you at. I
Mhm.
mean, if that's where you want to be, I'm cool with it. I don't I don't have these types of desires for other people that I think some of you may have, because
Mhm.
I believe that, one, people are a product of their choices. So if you in the hood, why are you there if it's such an undesirable place?
Mhm.
You know, you have to think about it. Everybody I knew graduated. Hey, we're gonna get out of here. Why? Wasn't no job. So why would we
Mhm.
stay?
Mhm.
You got
Right.
to get on the first thing smoking, man, to make
Mhm.
something out. I've never been attached to where I was born and raised like that. I
Mhm.
never have, and it used to amaze me that some people be like, they so bought into where they from that it's killing them, and it's killing their children, and they still, I'm repping my hood. What? Representing how awful it is?
Mm.
Because you don't represent nothing good. You
Mhm.
represent how awful it is where you live. And then you have those young people, like when you do go back and you change and you make still opportunities. Like, one, there's been several opportunities since I've been born for people who are low income, for instance. But I know a guy who was here and his mother passed and left him a house. So he left. He loved here, but because less responsibility was where he was from, that's where he went back to, and now he's stuck.
Mm.
Stuck. Stuck.
Mm.
So even like if you lived in this, like my grandparents, when their house was still there in the city there, and we would go back, and you would notice that the children's that we grew up with, their children's children now were living in the homes. It might be 9 dogs over there now in their house, and
Mm.
the house nasty, and you be like, man, Miss Barber wouldn't have left that house. Like, that's how you know Miss Barber ain't there no more.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because
Mhm.
as long as Miss Barber was there, things was fine. But soon them heathens moved in there, all type of night, no quiet. All you hear is doors slamming, people hollering, sirens, everything on the block. Why would
Mm.
you want to be
Okay.
there? Why would you
Mm.
want to be in that spot? And
Yeah.
you can go in there, and you can be your neighborhood's martyr if you would like, if that's what you want. But my neighborhood didn't care nothing about me.
Mm.
And trust me, your neighborhood don't care nothing about you.
Mhm.
So why y'all so sold out to y'all hoods, I don't know. That right there, for one, is suspect to me. So when you hear it in rap music or what, they be like, hold on, something don't sound right. That
Mhm.
don't sound like nowhere I would want to be. Because what do they talk about? What do they
Sh-
talk about?
Shooting and killing and
That's
thrilling and all
all they
that.
talk about. So
Mhm.
why y'all wind up idolizing that is something psychological. Why y'all need to figure that out?
Mhm.
Because there's definitely an issue, and you can't turn a blind eye and say it's all good, because it's not,
Mhm.
and it ain't never been, and you never should have called it good. in the first place.
Mm-hmm. That's good. That's good. Tiffany, you wanted to say something?
You know, I transport vehicles all over the country, right?
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, I think a lot of our, you know, I was a teenage mother, and, you know, people would tell me, you know, you can live in the projects and and you can pay blah blah blah, and I'd be like, well, who my kids gonna play with? Because I can't be around them 24/7. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
It's my responsibility. Not saying that there's no good people in the projects, but you
Yeah.
know, if you live in the projects, you know what's up. And I was
Mm-hmm.
like, no, I'd rather spend a little bit more in order for them to have a better opportunity, because at the end of the day, their success or failure is on me. But what I wanted to say is during COVID, I transported vehicles all over the country. And when I would go to Forest City, Iowa, and there's a little town in California close to the Arizona border, and there would be Black people there. And I would ask them, you know, how did you get to this place? And they would
Mm-hmm.
say they were from Chicago or they were from LA. And they would say that, you know, they didn't want to be around the trouble. And it was cheaper to live in these areas. So they were willing to leave that area to try to have a better life for themselves. You know what I'm saying? And I think a lot of us, we're afraid to leave what's comfortable. But sometimes you got to be uncomfortable to get comfortable. You know what I'm saying? And there's some
Mm-hmm.
beautiful places like in South Dakota. There's a lot of Black people in South Dakota, and they're living well because there's a lot of good jobs in South Dakota. And I
Mm-hmm.
didn't realize it until I was out there, you know. And we have to be willing to step away from, because it's not the hood's fault, it's our
Mm-hmm.
fault. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah.
We can't say, you know, somebody got to give us a better life, because there's people that are leaving these areas and going to find the freedom or whatever that they're looking for, the happiness that they're looking for. You know, it's not just in Chicago, Atlanta, New York, and stuff like that. You got to be willing to branch out and find what it is you need. You
Mm-hmm.
know, there's places here, we keep talking about how expensive it is, how the prices have gone up since COVID and stuff like that. But you can go to a small town someplace else, and let's talk about these small towns. You got Kraft, you got a lot of big major corporations that are in these small towns. People have really good jobs. The housing costs are low. You can live a really good life if you're willing to just step out and,
Mm-hmm.
you know, explore.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Exactly. Tori, you want to tell you had something on your heart? Talk to me.
Oh no.
You good?
So since it's my turn, yeah, no, I didn't have nothing to say. But if it's my turn, no.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm.
You know, we got some very valid points about the people in the hood.
Mm-hmm.
Don't clarify that. You know, it's like how we talk about America. If it ain't America, it's the people in America. And if the majority of them is white, then we talking about the white folks in America.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So right now we talking about the people in the hood. We talk hood people. I'm not gonna say the majority of Black folks, because a lot of these hood. Look at Russia. Russia hood right now. Look at white on white crime going down right now in Ukraine.
Mm-hmm.
And both they hoods, both them hoods. So I'm not gonna say a majority of any color, but yeah, we do make it. And if we the people allow, you know, just like how America is our hood compared to if we go country by country. This is our hood over here.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Russia got their thing over there. And if we allow things to get out of control, yeah, you're right. They can come invade this place and try to make it the way they want it to be someplace else. And we can leave this place and make it better for us. You know, but I think the most important part, the thing I like about the hood, listen, again, I don't know what we got going on today because everything is backwards. I'm talking about back in the day. You know what I'm saying? We did have, but for the most part, like when they used to have a little bit of honor among thieves, right?
Mm-hmm.
Our little hoods were good. You know, we did have a couple of instances, but we did have good people that looked out for each other.
Yes.
You know, there are opportunities in the hood that are here to help us. You know, and I saw that in this moment of darkness, even before COVID, dealing with the Lord. this grim, dark world, he showed me the beauty of it right where
Mhm.
you are. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes our hoods look dark because of where we at. But there are a lot of opportunities and a lot of beauty no matter where we go. It just depends on the perspective, you know? And there are a lot of tragic things that goes on that are influenced by humans. We might not notice it ourselves. We might not even notice the role that we play in a lot of the things that go on in this world. And some of us do. But regardless of this conversation right here, there's still beauty in every hood. There are still great things and great opportunities in every hood. And the only way that we're going to change the hood is for us to change. Like I
Mhm.
think, I can't remember her name said it earlier, the mindset.
Yes,
If your
absolutely.
mindset is we destroy everything, we keep it dirty, we ain't got to clean it up. Throw the trash on the ground. Let them clean it up.
Mhm.
The non-tax paying people or the little bitty tax paying people. Well, that's what tax pay for. Like, it's the mindset, you know. And again, I don't know where the mindset is from. I don't think it's natural. You just look around any hood, even just look at Ukraine and Russia right now in 2021. Is that natural for again another set of human beings who want to go kill, steal, and destroy everything from another group of human beings on their own stuff
Mhm.
and they hood?
Yeah.
You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, it doesn't matter about any place specific. Wherever humans are, wherever we are, we control how our
Mhm.
hood is and what our hood represents and what our hood be. And if we're gonna be people that don't take care of it, that want to be drug dealers and prostitutes and pimps and uh, 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 um, uh, sex traffickers and all of that, you know what I'm saying? Because that's what you into, that's what you like, and that's what our hood gonna be and represent. You know what I'm saying? Don't get mad at the rappers for going on there telling us if those are the people that consume their hood, don't be mad at the rappers. But again, you gotta think about it. It's just music, y'all. Some of
Mhm.
this stuff ain't true, and some of this stuff is beat up. It's like television. They don't
Mhm.
really live after getting shot 17,000 times by Uzi. And rap is the same way. So I don't think that we should really listen to rappers and think that what they're talking about in every aspect is the 100% reality. It is
Mhm.
sometimes distorted or blown up to be something bigger because we're using our imagination because of the art of it. You know
Mhm.
what I'm
That's
saying?
good.
So again, we got to be, be on a real level and honest, look at the reality of what our hoods are, and not just because some entertainer or the hood they represent using entertainment purposes.
Mhm. Good deal. Good deal. We're about to transition over now to our topic of the day. We're about to go to our topic of the day, and we're gonna I'm gonna put it up here. We're gonna talk about that. Anybody have anything they want to say? Excuse me. Before we
Yeah,
move on.
let me get a little bit of that since I just came on.
Okay.
I think what I've been hearing is throughout the conversation is we finally have to look at the fact that the black standard changed. Because at one point in time, our neighborhoods didn't look like this. Like Toya said, there is some good in our neighborhood, and for the most part, in our small black towns, that's how they started out. They started out with a standard and a goal, with a vision to have communities that look just as good as the communities that they weren't allowed to live in.
Mm-hmm.
But then, just as soon as we were allowed to integrate, we went to those communities. Now, 30 or 40 years later, you can see that those communities now are mostly black and headed down the wrong road. And the people that had those homes in the past have moved on and started another community. And then in some cases, like in the town or city that I'm from, um, the gentrification of black people moving to the white neighborhoods, and now they're starting to be over 50% of majority black. The white people are moving back to the dilapidated neighborhoods, buying up the property and redeveloping.
Mm-hmm.
See, that black standard has turned to wanting white way of life, the American dream. So now, why wouldn't a rich, successful, well-to-do black person go back to his hometown that might have some cheap property and build up that 4,000 square foot home that he wants in that $400,000 neighborhood? He could start his own subdivision and create his own black wealth. He could create his own black Wall Street. I
Mm-hmm.
hear people saying, well, who want to go back to the hood? Who want to go back home? Well, If you don't fix it, who gonna fix it? Because the more of you run to their neighborhood, guess what's gonna change? No matter what your standard is, you can walk with your butt tight and stick your shirt in your pants and you can do all that and talk prop all you want to. And after a while, they're gonna get tired of y'all invading their neighborhood. Oh, we got some new neighbors. So now, after a while, you're gonna be saying that, because where I live, my mom and my stepdad was like the first black people to live in their community. 1978, 78, 79. Go out there now. At one point in time, you felt like when you came to my neighborhood or my mom's neighborhood, man, you was in a totally different city. Everybody thought that you was in a rich people neighborhood. Go out there now. They ready to run. So it's really no matter where you move to, it's about the black standard, along with what Tiffany was saying, the black mindset. Once we get our mindset on building our own, crawling before we could walk and walking before we could run. You know, right now we have this immediate need to want to get to the finish line of the promised land. You know, this American dream. We want to be Usain Bolt, but we don't want to run and practice for 20 years to run them 10 seconds. But we want the gold medal. So we're going to run to, we're going to where the gold medal is already set that somebody else built, instead of building our own structure and organization to get our own communities the exact same way if we want it that way.
Yeah.
So, you know, it can, if that cycle continues to happen, then we won't ever see any growth in our hood. And the reason why, and I hate to say hood, but in our neighborhoods, and the reason why we won't see any growth in our neighborhoods because they don't have any examples of those positive role models around them that they can see and lay their eyes on every day. You know, you need to be able to see people. I saw an interview with this rapper Rich the Kid and this white economist, billionaire. And Rich the Kid has a big following. And he was talking about all the cars he bought. He was asking the white man, you ain't got this, you ain't got that. Man, I got a Ferrari, I got a Lamborghini, and this and that. And every time you turn around, he talking to the money, getting robbed for his money. And you know, he ain't listening to nobody black. But then guess who he did listen to? He listened to this white economist that told him, no, man, you don't do that. You know how you keep your money? You know how I made so much money and built my wealth? And it clicked. You can see it actually clicked to him while he was talking to this man. But I'm pretty sure he had heard it before about investing money, spending money correctly, how your property devalues, or when you buy a car, it depreciates when it leaves off the lot. Say all them cars you bought, they're not worth what you paid for them, and you probably haven't got 300 miles on all of them. He just sitting out bug-eyed. Oh, for real, you right? Because he thought he was just supposed to consume, not invest. Not build, but consume. So it's the mindset, really the black standard. What is the black standard? Because it definitely changed.
Absolutely. Now we're about to go. Yes, sir. Tucson, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just thinking about, if you want the neighborhood better, any hood or whatever you want to call it, you unfortunately, you probably have to set yourself up from basically a war, or a fight, at least. Because some of the people that's in the hood, they're not going to the neighborhood. It's the people that's in it.
Yeah.
Some of the people, you got to get out. You got to put them out. You got to buy that property and start all over, and then monitor who's in there. If you want it, you might have to fix it like a gated community, because there are some people that is in everybody's neighborhood that when they move there, the old saying, that go to neighborhood.
Wow. Badge, you wanted to say something?
I like what Donald and stuff was saying, and I don't know why anyone would want to be like a white man. I really don't. It makes no sense. We don't. The only culture we have is what some of them have either turned into racism, white supremacy, or Christianity. They don't have. We have to look elsewhere for true spirituality. Otherwise, we're stuck having to deal with all these morons and idiots that are running this country. That's why a lot of us are like, yes, we may be white. However, something ain't right, and we don't want to be white.
Wow. 508-924-3921. I can't even remember. Yeah, somebody about to say something. 508-924-3521. 508-924-3521. Let me go to Tucson. Tucson, you there? Okay. Tucson, what has being a parent taught you about yourself?
Say it again. Say it again.
What has being a parent taught you about yourself?
Parent taught me about myself.
What has being a parent taught you about yourself? What have you learned about yourself by being a parent?
Oh. That's a question there, Raheem, because what responsibility?
Mm-hmm.
And it is ongoing. In order to, at least I can give sound advice even when I didn't take it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? We're the best advice givers, but we don't take it.
Mm-hmm.
But I watch and I observe my children, and I made sure, try to, as best I could, to give them advice. Be better than me.
Mm-hmm.
Make wise choices, and don't tell everybody everything. So what it's taught me is that as a parent, you try to right now, you try to live the best you can, and to be an example that we at least consider to follow.
Mm-hmm.
Have some kind of standards about yourself, even if you fall or lack of what we call success. Get up and try it again, and don't depend on anybody.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I'm learning still at this point, and I'm passing it on. But don't quit, don't give up, don't give in.
Mm-hmm.
But
Wow.
I'm learning that it mean everything.
Mm-hmm.
I'm
good.
talking about everything, and keep them tight knit, because we got enough fussing and fighting among. What's sad? You know what, I say this and I shut up because that's a good question. That's a good question. I'm still learning the answer.
Mm-hmm.
What my brothers and sisters do, we may disagree, but we don't fall out.
Mm-hmm.
I can never understand, and maybe because of one reason or another, a brother or a sister say, I can't stand that person. I was going to say it a different way, but I just said, that's your brother or your sister. And you mean to tell me y'all can't even come together and have a simple conversation with each other?
Yeah, that's good.
I that on the mind.
Mm-hmm. That's good. That's good. Curtis, what has being a parent taught you about yourself?
Well, it taught me, honestly, just how much of a blessing my life is to another human being. How important it is for me to be a part in the development of people. Man, being a parent is by far the hardest thing psychologically, financially, physically that I have ever done in my life.
Wow.
Being a parent.
Mm-hmm.
Because like let me throw out an understanding here, right? Every time I was deployed, man, I worry more about. Some folk can tell you, man, that ain't a good place because if you get in the thick of things, you might do something stupid and you wind up losing your life. But I worry more about getting home to my kids. You understand? I worry more about who's going to explain to my sons what happened to me, or who's going to explain to my son what happened to me. You know, who's going to be there for my son? If I go down right here, who's going to be there for my son?
Mm-hmm.
What's the convenience for them to actually be there? You know what I mean? Man, it's a simple question to answer, but it's a complex question
Very,
when thought about.
very.
You know, and there is no right or wrong answer, I believe, because you know the way you choose to parent is how you choose to parent.
Mm-hmm.
Some parents don't believe in disciplining their children, physical discipline. Some parents don't believe in the ideology that you can just talk to your kids and send them to a corner. You know, some parents don't believe in disciplining their kids at all.
Mm-hmm.
So every time a kid do something wrong, you know, the first thought is, oh, this is a learning opportunity. You know, and I get it. But the one thing that I learned from being a father, having kids 11 years apart, is I learned just how important it is that my life be here
Mm-hmm.
to help the lives of other human beings, man.
Good deal. Good deal. Leonard, are you there?
Yes.
What has being a parent taught you about yourself?
I'm the most vulnerable with my children.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think that's the biggest thing. I would tell people it's not the answer to any question that you have.
Mm-hmm.
Having children is not the answer. And unlike a lot of people, I waited till very late in life to have kids. Well, I wouldn't say late, but I'm glad I only have two.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a huge responsibility.
Yeah.
And it's the hardest thing in my life to do.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't, have this affinity for just making babies. So, I have two sons, which are about 10 years apart, and each one of them is different. However, I did not calculate the cost emotionally of having children.
Mm. Mm.
It
Wow.
changed me emotionally. And so that was a very big deal.
Okay, when you say it changed you emotionally, was that in a good way, or how exactly do you mean that?
I'm a lot more strict and
Mm-hmm.
disciplined. However, I don't tolerate anybody bothering my children.
Mm-hmm.
I will literally change into a completely different individual right in front of your eyes when it comes to my children.
Mm-hmm.
There is, like with my wife, for instance, it would not behoove anyone to try me in those areas.
Mm-hmm.
So that there's a lot of vulnerability there because I will protect them at all costs.
Absolutely. 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 Badger, what has being a parent taught you about yourself?
That that as a man, I can cry, I can be happy, I can show emotions, unlike what they told me not to do growing up. The responsibility of having to fight for their rights, and how jacked up the world is right now. It's a constant struggle, especially if you're dealing with certain kinds of issues or issues of any kind. You have to learn how to put that to the side and take care of them first, but not let yourself get so bad that you can't take care of them at all.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a lot about balancing and not letting the toxicity of not being a male, of being a male, affect how you interact with them.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's good. That's good. Tiffany Real, what has being a parent taught you about yourself?
That I'm selfish.
Mm.
You know, I wish, you know, even though I have 7 beautiful babies, I'm selfish because I had them for the wrong reasons. You know what I'm saying? I grew up in a family where there wasn't a lot of love being passed around, and I wanted my own family. I wanted somebody to love and somebody to love me back unconditionally. And then I look 30 years later into the world that has changed so much in my 48 years of life, and I often apologize to them for bringing them into this chaos, because who want you want the very best for your children, and even though they're successful as far as education, as far as being able to take care of themselves, look at the world that I left them with. I feel a lot of all because I wanted little people to love me, you know what I'm saying, because I wanted to love somebody. And I feel bad for my grandkids and what they have to endure, because the world is messed up. And it was messed up when I was born. And I look at my mother, and when I was 14, I asked her, why didn't you have an abortion? You know what I'm saying? Like, why would you bring me into this world for me to have to go through these things? You know what I'm saying? And even though it seems like kids may have everything, because we all worked hard to make sure that the kids had a great village, but when you have children, especially as many as I have, they all want to be the only child. They all want the one-on-one time with mom. They all, so I realized that I was selfish. Would the kids say that? Probably not, but I know that I'm selfish, and I apologize to them all the time, because I just hate the world that we're in. And I think to some of the slave women back in the days, they'd rather kill their baby than to have their children live in slavery. And even though we may not be going through what they were going through as slaves, we're still going through enough. I mean, shoot, 48 years ago, the truth was the truth, and that's what it was. And today that truth is wrong.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? My children live in a time where you can't be offensive to somebody else, but somebody else can offend you. We still live in a place where we have to make sure certain people are protected, but you can still get gunned down in the street and it's okay. You know what I'm saying? I brought them into that. I brought them into a situation, my 3 sons, into a situation where if they walk out the door, they might not come back, because if they have a run-in, whether they're wrong or right, they might not make it back home. I brought them into that.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like, I don't want to say I regret, because I don't regret having my children, but I wish that my mindset would have been a little bit different, because they probably wouldn't be here.
Wow. Wow. Rico, what has being a parent taught you about yourself?
Taught me that I could start having fear that I never thought I could have, or that I could You know how when you were young, you can worry that your parents might not make it home.
Mm-hmm.
Then when you get older, you start worrying that your kids might not make it home, what they're going through at school.
Mm-hmm.
See, when you're on the outside looking in, you only, once again, like I said, that about wanting to win the gold medal. You only know about the easy part of it or what you visualize, but you don't know
Yes.
about having to be a caregiver.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know about having to understand what somebody else is feeling before they can even speak words to you. So what it taught me is that I could pay more attention to how other people feel and their needs without having to actually hear the words. You know, when you hear a baby cry too much and they can't speak, you know, okay, what is it? Are they hungry? Are they wet? Have they messed themselves? What is it? What's going on? Is she sick? And you know, it's a problem when you got a newborn that goes through those images because they can't tell you what's going on.
Yeah.
Then on top of it, you got to learn some patience because you ain't gonna get a whole lot of sleep, especially if you're a single parent.
Mm-hmm.
Or even if you're a parent that's in the household with somebody else and the other one is lazy. Maybe you got with the wrong one and they're entitled. So you the one doing all the working and the cleaning and the teaching and the A, B, C, D, E, teaching them that. Teaching them the numbers before they even start school. Being the parent that realizes that when they get out of school, the school introduced them to certain things, but now it's on you to help them fine tune it and also stay involved and know what's going on with them. So what it really boils down to is that you're not living for yourself anymore. As an adult, you realize the things you wish you would have had and the things you needed when you were young. And as an adult, it's up to you to make sure that you look out for those same things as a child, because we were once children before too. So it shouldn't be too hard for you to say to yourself, well, you know what? Now I realize why my parents did this and that. Now I see my parents were wrong when they did this and that. But what I got to do is build on that and be a better parent, because I remember how it felt when these things were done to me. I remember when I was on my own and all the little sneaky things I did, man, I'd be doggone if I'm going to allow my children to be able to do the same sneaky thing. Because I was them once before.
Yeah.
So you know it's an experience thing, and it teaches you that you have to be prepared for the unexpected, because no matter what you teach them or what you set out for them to want to be or do with themselves, they still got to go out there and live their lives.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Charles, good morning. How you doing this morning?
What's up, bro?
Hey, what's going on with you, man?
Chill.
Asking the question, man, what has been a parent, Charles, taught you about yourself?
You said being a parent?
Yes. What has been a parent taught you about yourself?
Oh man, a lot, man. It had to be it taught me that I have to be more a better listener, a better communicator. I got all boys, so I've always, talked to those boys a lot. So I got all boys. It taught me to, to be more understanding, because I, being I was a young man myself at one time also. So I did the dumb things that they do right now. It taught me that I have somebody under me that I have to really start teaching, It taught me to be a teacher. Have somebody follow my footsteps to train them to think like I think and to move like I move. You understand? I didn't, I might, and it taught me to, those things. If you ask me what did parenting teach me about myself, that's what parenting is showing me about myself to do. And I still got one that's 14. I got one that's 28 and one that's 32 and 14. I got married twice. So and this youngest one, the littlest one, he's the one that tries my patience. So it's always the younger one, right? He tries my patience the most, but I'm more vocal with him and the middle one the most. The oldest one, I'm not as vocal with them, but they know how I stand, and that the way I teach them, nothing can stop you but you. Is nothing out there in this world that can stop you but you. And that's just what it is. Rules and regulations, stuff like that. That was simple, but teaching about myself, It just taught me, man, yeah, you got to know how to listen. You got to know how to communicate. You got to know how to get over and speak into their way. You know what I'm saying? Because sometimes they don't understand. So I got to speak into their way so they can understand what I'm saying.
Speak to them on their level.
Right, not dumbing down, but in their way. And because if he's 14, I'm speaking to, and sometimes he tests me like, man, I'm about to do something to you, but let you understand what's going on and how this is about to happen if you don't move this way for me. So it's just, building men, it makes you, I think when you build men, it makes you understand manhood and the manhood you're under a little bit more. Because you're looking at it in two or three ways, like with a daughter. Like I've dated women for a long period of time. Like I dated this woman, she had a daughter, and we dated for like 4 or 5 years. But I went into the relationship saying, hey, look, I'm gonna be honest. You got a 13-year-old daughter. I do not know how to treat daughters. You all have to talk to me like I'm 6 years old. Walk me through this, because boys, you say something to me, shut up and sit down. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Dad, can I borrow? You can't borrow nothing. Go outside and cut the grass and wash my car. With girl, my nieces, Uncle, can I borrow? Yeah, here you go, baby, because I'm a softie like that.
Yeah, exactly. I got 4 girls, brother. I know exactly what you mean.
So you know, wait,
I know exactly. I know exactly what you mean. Tiffany, what's on your heart?
Nothing. Why is it my turn so fast? I could have sworn I just spoke. But being a parent for me is, a life lesson. And the thing is, I think, the progression, the evolution, like they go from being babies sucking on your breast to, being adults and doing their thing, and you realize that
now Tiffany, you're the only one that can relate to that. Now it's all men on here. Now go ahead.
There were some women out here, but the thing is, you the nurturer, and you see these people come out of your body, and you build this bond with them, and then you watch them grow to be adults. And in the beginning, it was so hard to, let them go, make their own choices and stuff like that. I was really involved, like in everything, and to detach and say, you know what, you gave them a village, you got to see what they're gonna do with it. You know what I'm saying? You gotta trust the process. It was hard to let them go because you still want to be that protector and stuff like that. But the thing is, you got to let them stumble. You got to let them fall. You got to let them pick themselves up so you can see if your training actually works. And I tell people all the time, parenting is a job. You know what I'm saying? It's not something for the weak. It is your job to prepare them for life without you, because you're not always going to be here. And I'm thankful that I have 7 children because they take care of each other. You know what I'm saying? They take care of each other. Sometimes I don't even have to do anything. Like if the youngest one needs to go somewhere and somebody's not available to take him to band practice or whatever. This was before he had his job and I'm at work or something like that. They don't even call me. Somebody in Syracuse can just Uber him to wherever he has to go to. And then somebody else come from college to come pick him up. And they have their own little system. You know what I'm saying? Amongst siblings, they're each other's best friends. They take care of each other. So I know that if I was to drop dead tomorrow, I wouldn't even have to worry about my baby, my 16-year-old, because they have a close-knit thing where they're going to forget the parents, forget the grandparents, forget everything. They take care of each other. You know what I'm saying? They make sure that each other is great. So, that's one great thing that I can say about, me having them and the way that they were raised. I always wanted to make sure that they were loved. And not only did they love us, other people, they had to love each other. You know what I'm saying? There's no in-house fighting. You know, why you want to wrestle all the time? You know what I'm saying? Let's play board games. Let's learn how to, you know, be friends with each other and stuff like that. Be each other's best friends. You know, fight the world together. And, you know, that part really works. So to be an adult and see them as young adults doing that is really a beautiful thing.
Exactly. Rico, it is said that everybody got to get burned by their own fire. Everybody got to get burned by their own fire. Do we all the time? And Tiffany just touched real hard on this. Do we allow our children? When do we know to just let go and allow them to get burned by their own fire, so they can learn from that and move forward from that and grow?
When it becomes too big of a hassle or a fight to get them to comply. You know, it's one, you know, the number one, they should understand or comply anyway because you're the parent. But then if it gets to a point where you see that you can't get them to cooperate, then sometimes you say, well, you know what, man, I just got to sit back and watch them struggle a little bit because they're not taking my advice. You know, it's almost like when you first learn that fire is hot. You know, somebody might tell you, don't touch that, don't touch that. You see that's red like that, it's glowing, don't touch it. And you know, the thing is with a child, that might look enticing. I'm speaking from experience. I was attracted to fire and heat, you know, hot things when I was young. And it looked enticing. So I can remember the first time I touched something hot. Put these fingers on that stove.
Ooh.
Woo! Now I associate red with burn. Not just hot, but burn. You see, the thing was, I think I didn't understand what the word hot meant.
Yeah.
I was very young, man. You know, I told you once before, I got memories that some people believe that I'm lying about. But I can remember a lot of these memories I can remember being in a walker. Of just being an arm baby. I got memories from just sitting up being an arm baby and having my shoes put on my feet. I remember those days. So the first time I got burned, I remember that. And then from then on, I can remember associating, but I had to learn the hard way because they had already told me plenty of times, don't touch that, that's hot. I didn't know what hot was.
Yep.
You know, so, you know, sometimes that's when you realize that, okay, they're not going to listen to me. They're not going to take my advice. And even though I'm leading by example, for some reason, they still got a whole nother agenda, a whole nother urge. So what I got to do is I got to let them learn the hard way. And then even sometimes when you're giving them good advice, you know, they might be scared to play sports or something like that. They might think something is hard. You tell them, well, you know what? It ain't that hard. It ain't that hard. You lead by example, and then they'll see that it might not be that hard. But they still will have to go and find out themselves because, like I said, you will not be that Usain Bolt record-breaking track runner without getting out there experiencing on your own what it takes to get that good, to be elite, to prepare yourself to be that type of an athlete or whatever it is you're trying to do. So that's where that experience comes in that, you know, you have to let children know that it's only so much you can tell them.
Yeah.
But most of the things they will have to find out for themselves to verify that you were telling the truth.
Absolutely. Leonard, what do you say to that, brother?
Say to what particularly, Raheem?
A child got to get burned by their own fire. How do we know as parents when to let go and allow them to touch that fire so they can learn from it?
Well, all children, I don't think are like that. There are some children that are obedient, and those are the children, you know, that, like, say, for instance, sometimes you have to let them do that. If you see that urge is that strong, then some children need that. My mother said I did, but it was just that one time. That's it. It was just that one time. So it depends on the actual child. I've learned more from the scripture. Obedience is better than sacrifice. So if you're trying to warn me of something, I'm usually going to take that person's advice, especially if you're trying to warn me of something. Because, you know, the only people trying to warn you of certain things are people who are not interested in you failing.
Yeah.
You know, like, say, for instance, if someone was doing something because they And they told you, I just don't want you to hurt yourself. So then now we've established the reason why I don't want you to do this is because I don't want you to hurt yourself. And you do it anyway. That's your fault, not mine.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes you have to, some children need that, but some children are obedient enough to understand. Like, say, for instance, I don't believe in really corporal punishment much.
Mm-hmm.
I believe, just a few little taps here and there, no more so with your hand. And my child start using words, that's when you start using words to discipline.
Mm-hmm.
But, like I said, some people are sold out to certain ways of discipline or whatever. See if their behavior changes or not. The prisons are full of people that have gotten beaten by their parents for what they thought was doing something wrong. They're still sitting in jail because of what they chose.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I think it's most important that, especially even with having children, what makes you so qualified to have a kid in the first place? Nothing. Nothing. Idiots can make babies. So there is a need for proper parenting. And it's good to get people other advice about it. You should be able to lean on your parents. Hopefully you have parents that can help you, grandparents, sisters and brothers. I learned a lot from my brother because he had kids so much sooner than I did. So I learned a lot from him, and he's like 5 years younger than me.
Mm-hmm.
But he started having kids sooner. He has adult kids, before I did.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I would just sit and ask him things like, man, when do it get easier? And one thing he told me, sometimes you just have to pray for them. That's all you can do is pray for them. They're not gonna listen. Some of them, they're just not gonna listen. And if they do listen, they might not let you know. But he used to tell me, man, them kids do what they want to do.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
Hello?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm back right here.
Okay. Okay, got you. Well, let me come now that you're back. Let me come back to you, brother. What has listen to everything that we were saying? What has being a parent taught you most about yourself? What is it that I didn't know this until I started having I'm gonna go country on you until I started having children. And before you answer, let me say this number 508-924-3521. That's the phone call in number. Give us a call. We'd love to have your input. 508-924-3521. Give us a call. What has been a parent taught you most about yourself? Curtis, talk to me.
School is always in session, brother.
Mm-hmm.
Everything I heard up until I got the call from the resource provider. And one thing I done learned above all other things is school class is always in session with kids. No matter how old you get, no matter how old they get, that's will always be in session. And if you've been a good parent, or if you have tried to be a good parent, eventually the ones that don't never want to attend your class, life will force them to show up to your class.
Mm-hmm.
Because at some point, they're going to hit some block in the road. They're going to hit some level of confusion. They're going to hit some level of misunderstanding that in their minds, I can only gain a greater understanding by getting my mama or my daddy on the phone.
Mm-hmm.
Not going to go see my mama or my daddy. I have always tried to be a listening parent because I have always understood that the life that the world will give can be full of riddles and puzzle pieces. And in most cases, the puzzle is put together the puzzle is made to fit together as opposed to the puzzle being put together uh, because the pieces fit.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? So it can cause a certain level of confusion and misunderstanding, and it can cause for your child to be misguided. So, you know, you gotta at some point you have to accept the fact that for my kids, I'm gonna have to answer some hard questions.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. Okay.
You know, for my kid, I'm gonna have to do some things that may go against my normal flow.
Mm-hmm. Okay. That's
You know what I
good.
mean? But if it's gonna help my kids understand just how important life should be to themselves, and how important the life of others should be to themselves, then that's just what I gotta do.
Absolutely.
You know?
Absolutely. That's good. Cassandra, what has being a parent taught you most about yourself?
That I don't know very much. I really don't. No, really. Because these life lessons that you learn in being a parent, because sometimes when you think you've done, you know, all the right things, and you have conversations with your kids down the line, or when they get older, and they go like, well, I didn't like when you did so and so, and that didn't help me, it hurt me. Then you going like, what the hell? I thought I was doing that for you, you know? And I'll tell you, the greatest lesson that I've learned as a woman is when it comes to domestic violence. I thought I was helping my kids, have a better life because they had everything they needed, pretty much a lot of what they wanted. And I thought I was doing the right thing, even though they would hear me getting my behind whipped. You understand what I'm saying? And we can say, oh no, I never thought like that. That's fine. But I can admit my fault. I thought I was doing the right thing by staying with this person that was supplying the nice home, nice cars, money in the bank, vacations. But that's not what my kids needed. They needed for me to get out of that situation, because the stress on them from worrying about me was great.
Absolutely. And that's powerful. And that's some words I hope everybody in any situation similar or the same as that take heed to. Get out of that situation, man. You're not doing any service to your kids by staying there and letting them watch you, be it the man or the woman, be abused. You're not helping. You're not helping at all. Badger, what's on your heart?
Man, that was a deep one. It's one of those things, like, in my opinion, you know, parents are responsible for doing their best to teach their kids right. So if you're in a toxic relationship or around toxic people, if you're hanging around them, in my opinion, all you're doing is teaching your kids that it's acceptable to be like that. Especially when they're young. I think weighing what environment you're going to raise your kids in should also be measured and weighed, because it's difficult. It's a struggle for me now. They have positive people in their lives and things like that, yet the area we live in, not as accepting of being different. So there's a lot of assumption and different negative things that they have to deal with, and they're going to probably have to deal with it no matter where they go. until society changes. So
Mm-hmm.
it's just one of those things of what do you teach them to make sure that, you know, they continue breaking the cycle of what was passed down to you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's good. That's good. Charles, talk to me, brother.
Well, I agree with pretty much everybody's saying, man. I mean, it's not a it's not an easy way to parent, but as what we learn about ourselves help us move along with our parenting skills. Supposedly, hopefully, it helps us with our parenting skills. Yeah, when I used to think that I was, I'm a by nature I'm a joker. I joke a lot. I play a lot. I'm a jokester. So by nature, the way when I'm growing up with my, because I'm saying growing up with my kids because you are really growing up, you know, with your kids. You really are. So growing up with my kids, they take on who I am. You get what I'm saying? And they take on who their mom was, but they still take on, boys usually take on with their father, usually. And it just taught me, man, to just be more cautious on the things that I do because they'll pick up. It's like, what is it? What's the saying, Raheem? Don't do as I say.
Do it.
Don't do as I do. Do as I
do
say.
as I said. Yeah, exactly.
And that right there is like, good and well. that good and well, that's a setup, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because they're gonna do what you do, right?
Yep.
They're gonna do what you do no matter what. They're gonna do what you do. So parenting taught me that I gotta start doing certain things a certain way. I know I'm a procrastinator. I know this. I know that I can be an a-hole at times.
No.
I know that. So I don't have to show the boys. You don't have to be that all the time. I have to show them a more concerning dad. I have to show them a more talkative dad because you got to do that. Now I heard you a little smart, man. I do have feelings on Monday.
There you go. There you go. I know you heard me, man.
I heard you, man. That's all right, though. That's all right. I expect it from you, though, man. Because that's you.
And he just blew right over that one. Okay, he must not have heard it. He blew right over that one. Okay,
yeah, you thought I did.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
That's what I do with my kid. My kid says I'm talking. All right, you probably do the same thing.
Yeah.
And you go back to it and say, I heard what you did.
Yeah, exactly.
That's how you do it. Yeah, especially with your daughters, man.
I had to do that just yesterday. I had to do that. Leonard, what's on your heart, brother?
Man. No, just listening to what people have to say, like I can identify with what Charles said, because when my child was kids were born, I had to change my whole lifestyle. Yeah. I mean, I literally had to relocate to another part of the house and everything for the very simple fact of the music that I listened to. And the television programs and things like that. So one, I moved my office and things like that all into the basement. So, because I can't be blasting my music and they listen to it.
Yeah.
Right.
Or anything like that. So I was, when my wife told me she was pregnant, I was headed in the other direction, ready to do something completely different. And then when she told me she was pregnant, I had to pump the brakes, reevaluate, and change. And ever since then, everything has been for them.
Right. But
that was my biggest change, is that something, because I'm a very protective person. So when I hear people talking about they're not with their children, well, I can't even imagine not being without my children at all for a day.
Yeah, exactly.
Because even like with the school situation, even when I took them to school, I made it very clear to people there at the school, I'm a call away. There's nothing too important that's going on with my child that I won't be here within 10 to 15 minutes. And so, I had to really, like, I'm learning to be just a little bit more chill about it, I think. But those were struggles for me because I know what's out there.
Yeah.
And I can only hope that my sons are as tough as I am. Even when I was a kid, their age, I was much tougher. So I hope that that's one thing that they have learned is definitely self-preservation.
Exactly. Exactly.
Let
Rico.
me say something real quick, bro, if you don't mind.
Okay.
What Leonard was just saying about changing and how he moved to the different part of the house because he knew those things would affect his children. It's weird. I was just having this conversation, man. I promise you, Friday with one of my friends. They own a daycare. They said, man, these kids come in there, like, you know, the parents gotta, you know, the teachers open the door for the kids, you know, because kids in the back seat. They said they would open the door for the kid, man, and the whole car would smell like weed. So if you do those things, just like what Leonard was saying, if you, not saying he's smart, I'm just saying change what you know is going to affect the kid, move away from it. Don't bring it in. And that's what man, I promise you, man, all the stories that I hear, man, you think defects is shoot, man. How you gonna come in all your kids and then one kid had snacks, and in the bag of snacks he had a bag of weed.
Good Lord.
So how can you protect your child like that, man? You understand what I'm saying? That's weird.
Wow. Absolutely. Rico, what's on your heart, brother?
Yeah, that's terrible, man. Did I just say Charles say today was his birthday?
No.
It was yesterday.
Yesterday. We said yesterday, Charles.
Yeah. The big
Happy
5-3. The big 5-3.
Happy belated birthday, yes, man. Happy belated birthday. Either way it go, I was gonna say it to you. Man, that's huge what y'all are saying, man. You know, and this is one thing that I realized is that subconsciously, I ain't gonna even say subconsciously, in a roundabout way, most parents don't realize that they are teachers. Plain and simple. They're not just fathers or mothers, but they are teachers. And not only are they teachers, but they're computer programmers. And in the process of being these computer programmers, that computer is picking up every little thing that they need to survive and adapt to this new thing they call life. And if you are dysfunctionally or deviantly sabotaging these children, but you don't know it, that's what the consequence is. So some parents and some people are having children for the wrong reason, like Tiffany said it earlier. And to be honest with you, you know, I think I was 50-50 on that myself. I think I somewhat did it for the right reason, but then the other reason was for selfish reasons. Because I wanted to love somebody and I wanted somebody to love me unconditionally because I didn't get it. Only from my grandmother, but you know, that was still limited. I didn't get that unconditional love that a parent received. So I went young and decided to make a grown man decision. Because it was all based on what I wanted to do to make me feel good. Little did I know, wait a minute, it ain't all about you feeling good. Because now this little boy crying and you don't know what he's crying about, but you need to make him feel good. And it ain't just a baby you can hold for a second and play with him and make him smile and laugh and hand him off to somebody and say, hey man, I like kids. I'm good with kids. Hey, I'm good. Kids like me. Okay, try 24/7.
Exactly.
So, you know, but that was the biggest thing, man, is knowing that from my experience, I know there are things my parents still don't know about me.
Yeah.
And I know in my experience, there were times that my life was in danger.
Come on.
And if I would have made the wrong decision, somebody would have been burying me.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So just like Leonard, you know what I'm saying? When I send my child to that school or when my child goes off to college or goes to that job, just driving down the road, I'm worried about if he's looking at his cell phone. If he's being a defensive driver. Did he pay attention when I was driving and I was talking to them about being a defensive driver? Did they pay attention to me when I told them, look, man, I'm sitting at the red light. My light is green, but I'm still looking both ways before I go because nowadays people are distracted. They run a red light more often. You get T-boned.
Absolutely.
Are they paying attention to that? Are they avoiding the temptation of drugs and money and character and standards that you instill into them? You know, because there's so many different things that will
entice you and tempt you in this world. And we know it from our experience.
Yeah.
We know it's even worse now because they have more access. You know, I was thinking about how porn is so prevalent now and how things have evolved for the worse.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes we take technology and we make the good out of it, but then we also have to make sure we make precautions to prevent the bad. And the bad thing about that was I can remember when I was very young, if a person wanted to see movies like that, they had to go somewhere special and find it, and it had to be on movie reels. Can you imagine people setting up movie reels in their homes to try to watch a little porn and hope the kids don't see it? You got to go through a whole lot to access that. Now children can access it at the click of a button.
Yeah.
Much more explicit, much more extreme than the little stuff that they had back in the day on reel.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to worry about the things, the devices and the temptations out there for your young children and your young adults as they go into this world, because now they have more things that they need to avoid. Yeah, they got access. Technology is better. They got cell phones. Everything better than what it was back in the day, but it's also a lot more risky. So you have to worry because they go through things that we didn't have to comprehend or go through. Things that exist now that didn't exist then.
Exactly.
We didn't have influences from Grand Theft Auto, video games. Now they have those that access and that exposure. So
exactly.
It's much harder being a parent. You got to be that teacher, and you got to be that example. You got to be that great computer programmer
all the time. All the time. Absolutely. Tiffany Real, what's on your heart, sis? Talk to me. She's looking for that mute button. She moving between screens.
I'm looking for I'm moving between screens.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, what more we can say, but you gotta allow, it's your job. Like I think Rico
Did becoming a parent teach you a softer side of yourself too? Oh Lord. Okay.
To be honest with you, I think being a mom made me more hard because, I think even though I do have a soft side, but I guess I'm a little rough because I'm protective.
Okay. Okay.
I'm really protective. All you gotta say is, "Mom, so and so." I don't even know the rest of the sentence. I'm out the door. I was the type of mother, if my kids were playing on the playground and somebody was throwing stuff at the kids, I'm the one that's going to follow those kids home and tell them, if your mother says it's okay for you to be throwing stones, I'm going to beat your mother's behind in front of you.
I'm glad you said behind.
I still am that type of mother because I raised my children to be good people. I didn't raise them to be out here fighting people, bullying people and stuff like that. So, if I'm raising my children to treat you with respect and kindness, you're going to treat them the same way or I'm coming. And I realized that worked. And, I just taught them like sticks and stones. And I'm going to give 2 quick examples because I think Rico said it. You are a teacher. You know what I'm saying? So I'm going to give 2 quick examples. When my daughter, who's now 24, she was being bullied in school. And when she told me she was being bullied in school, my instinct was to go up there. Because my thing is, I'm not going to deal with the children. I'm going to deal with the parents of these kids. And she said, Mom, no. She said, I'm all right. She said, they're not going to do anything. She said, they just want to talk that talk and stuff like that. She said, but I don't pay them no attention. Some kids aren't strong enough to deal with it. She was, and they never did anything to her. You know what I'm saying? Because they were afraid because they didn't know what she would do. But, oh my God, I forgot the other point. But we are the teacher. Oh, my daughter, my baby girl. She's a nursing student at Clayton State University. And when she was a little girl, she came in the house crying and stuff like that because she said that some little kid told her that her mother was ugly. And your mamas are so ugly or whatever. You know what I'm saying? She came in crying and she was so hurt. She was ready to fight. And I was like, what's wrong? She said, The girl said that you were ugly, blah, blah, blah. I said, do I know this girl? She said, no. I said, do you think I'm ugly? She said, no, you're beautiful. She got tears running down her face. I said, well, then she must have been talking about her own mama. I said, don't be crying. Don't be mad because they're saying something that's not true. You know what I'm saying? So
You don't call the girl mama ugly. Lord Jesus.
what if the point of the matter is she's crying over something that is not true. You know what I'm saying? And as a parent, you have to teach the children. Like, she was ready to fight to, defend her mama. And I'm just saying, do you think I'm ugly? She's like, no, you're beautiful. I said, well, then she must have been talking about her own mama, because you already know she ain't talking about me. And then when she laughed, she understood that she doesn't have to react to everything that comes at her.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Toussaint, talk to me, brother. What's on your heart? What has being a parent taught you most about yourself? And did you realize a softer side?
Oh, well, I don't know about the softer side. Grandchildren will teach you your soft side. They'll make you lie. Make you do something you say you never do. And you probably didn't do for your kids. But when I was thinking about this, as I was listening to you all, it taught me that I believe this God thing. It taught me that I really believe from my family. This train up a child in the way that they should go when they go. I believe that.
Yeah.
I've learned to that I would go to the extreme not to be an infidel when it comes to my kids, my children, and my grandchildren. I believe that in anything, and I'm just saying what I believe I've learned, because some people talk about this God thing, trust God, and believe Him, and all that kind of stuff, and when things don't seem to go well, they kind of like, well, that must not be for me as far as in the will of God. But, and this is just me now, I believe it. I believe that it's taught me that if it's crazy, if it seems foolish, just crazy and stupid to believe that there is a supreme person that will take care of your family, if you just trust and believe that, then I'm convinced, and I'm learning that more and more each day, because at the beginning we say things, but at this point in my life, I see those things unfold, and it's making me, and it's teaching me what I'm able to see myself for who I am, and I'm just saying that I'm learning that I really believe every word that proceeds out of the mouth of God. That's what I think. Sir. And that's what I've learned.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Cassandra, what's on your heart? Being a parent, it taught you most about yourself.
I thought you asked me that question. Didn't you ask me that?
Yeah, that's our topic for today.
Okay. Oh, okay. So you want me to say something else about it?
Yes. Did it teach? Did it teach you about? And I asked Tiffany this question as well. Did it teach you that you have a softer side about yourself that you didn't realize, or did it make you tougher?
Oh no, it softened me, because I was really mean and hardcore and fighting and acting a fool. And when my son came, and I was 15, when my son was born, it was like, no, I got to think about someone else other than myself. Before, I didn't care whether somebody killed me or I killed somebody. It didn't matter to me one way or the other. But after my son was born, I felt like I had someone and something to live for. So yeah, it made me softer.
Wow. Wow. Rico, I posted this yesterday, and a lot of people said that they were very selfish before they became parents. It taught them that they were selfish, and that's who they were. How do you look at that? How can becoming a parent make you realize that you're selfish and take that away?
Because it makes you realize that you can only see things through other people's eyes. And then too, I don't know if this example will apply to everybody else's, but this is what happened to me. Because it was almost like to a point where I was worried or panicked that my children wouldn't turn out to be good, or that I was worried they would turn out bad. You know, when it came to school work, are they going to be the ones that do the work? Are they going to be the ones that make F's and D's and don't care? You know, they're going to be driven or motivated. I mean, I was worried about all that. And so on. I can remember, you know, in my family, we excel academically and athletically. And when you have those things in you, those talents, you hope it passes on to your children, especially if you try to refine them. But in the process of teaching them, especially when it comes to education, I found out that I started seeing flaws as far as how I treated people that I cared about. I loved too hard, and I would get anxiety, worrying about if they were going to succeed or not. So this is what it would happen. I could come across a cousin or a friend's child, and they can have problems in school, and the parents might say, "Man, I don't know why they catching it. They can't figure this out." I'll look and see what it is they're having problems with, and then see where they are, and I could explain it to them. And from that point forward, they always come to Uncle Rico. Rico could help me. He always got the answers. But then all of a sudden, I see my children struggling with the same stuff. And guess what I started doing? I started sweating like a dope dealer with a kilo in the trunk. Oh man,
that's what's sweating there, brother.
It's too simple. I can't believe they can't figure this out. So in the process of me trying to teach them and get them to figure it out, I'm panicking, and I can't express myself to them the way I need to, the way I do other children, because it means more to me that they get it than the other child.
Yeah.
So now here it is. It's sort of like I'm coming off aggressive because I'm getting impatient. I'm worried that they ain't gonna get it, and now they can't receive it because they can see the frustration in the way that I'm explaining it. So now they sort of pulling away and withdrawing a little bit because they're not receptive of my anger. That's the way it's coming off. They don't know it's worried. They don't know that I'm scared that you don't get it. I'm scared that they're gonna try to put you in special ed if you don't get this little simple stuff. You know, so I found out over time that I pushed some loved ones away like that because I really panicked and went into a mode where it was hard for me to express myself. And I understood the reason why was because it was so important for them to get it. See, when it didn't mean as much, it seemed like it came off my tongue a little easier. You know, but when it meant a lot to me, then it was hard for me to express what they needed to see.
Yeah.
And I mean, man, I would scare them sometimes because they wouldn't get it. I tried to explain it, and I knew I wasn't explaining it right because myself, I would be struggling on how to word it correctly, trying too hard. Why was I trying so hard? Because I was so worried that they wasn't gonna excel.
Wow, that's good. That's good. Charles, what's on your heart, brother? Charles, let me ask you this: how much? Because you said you got boys. How much of the part of Charles that you didn't want to pour into your? Oh, we just lost him. So as soon as I go to him, we lose him. Leonard, you got boys as well. How much of Leonard did you not want to pour into your boys?
I think I want them to be more decisive. More decisive. I think that's the biggest thing, is that they are choosing things for themselves. And I think that they are pretty much on the right track. But I think the weaknesses. Sometimes I can be very indecisive about trivial things.
Mm-hmm.
So I hope they don't get that procrastination and things like that. That's probably the biggest thing.
Mm-hmm.
I think that they are prepared to do whatever they would like. It's just, sometimes as a parent, you wish they would do a little bit more, but I have a little bit more discipline with myself.
Mm-hmm.
So I just facilitate their best decisions.
Okay. That's good.
So I try to lead them, guide them best decisions. I don't have they're not bad kids by any means.
Mm-hmm. Not at all. Mm-hmm.
But it's always wanted to be that they have that same integrity around me when I'm not around.
Mm-hmm. That's good. That's good. 508-924-3521. 508-924-3521. Again, 508-924-3521. Phone lines are open. Got a little less than 30 minutes before we get out of here, man. We're talking about what has been a parent taught you most about yourself. What has been a parent taught you most about yourself? Badger, talk to me.
Joy. It's knowing that I'm doing the best I can to raise intelligent young men.
Mm-hmm.
Thinking I would never deserve to have children. So it's taught me a lot about self-esteem and that I was worth something.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
Because to me, having children is a blessing.
Mm-hmm.
So, at least for my mental, it was.
Mm-hmm.
'Cause I spent most of my life not having self-worth. So when I met my wife and had kids, it started to, dig into my head that I actually do have self-worth.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just a lot of depth for things when it comes to me. For me, it's everything.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's good. That's good. Tiffany, how much when you found out you was going to be a mother, you're going to be a parent and be responsible for this little one, how much of a fear factor was that?
There was a big fear factor because I didn't have a good example of a mother, and I definitely didn't want a daughter because of the dynamic between my mother and I. So I was definitely afraid of having a daughter. I wanted to have a son first because I don't know if you want to say I could get some practice in to see if I would be able to, because I didn't have a great mother.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And the things that I didn't know if I was even capable of loving a child, to be honest with you.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll even be even more transparent. I don't even really think I got it until I had my fourth child.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I know I got to protect them. I know they got to be fed. I know I have to play with them and stuff like that. But I wasn't really able to release that love energy, if you want to call it. Like, I breastfed. I did everything that I knew I was supposed to do. And I love them, but I don't think that I was really able to accept it back until like my fourth child. Yeah.
Wow. Cassandra, how much of a fear factor was it? Rico, coming to you next.
You mean having a child?
Yes. Knowing that you're going to be a parent, you're going to have a child, you're going to be responsible for this little one. How much of a fear factor was that?
Listen, I told you I was a 15-year-old kid. So imagine a 15-year-old kid, having a kid. I was absolutely petrified. And then I was being physically and verbally abused at home because of the pregnancy. So it was one of the most fearful, horrifying, traumatic times of my life.
Wow.
To be totally honest.
Wow.
It was that bad. It was traumatizing. And I was living with my alcoholic grandmother because my mother had died. And she got angry one day at me because I didn't want to go outside. I was ashamed. I'm sorry. Nowadays they proud. I was ashamed. And she took a broom and broke the broom across at 7 months.
Wow.
So it was horrible for me. It was traumatizing. So, you know, I applaud people that, you know, act like it was, well, maybe it was for them, kumbaya and great, because mine was horrible.
Wow. Wow. Rico, how much of a fear factor was it, man? You're going to be a dad, man. You're going to be responsible for this little one. And you have to take the responsibility for this little one, Rico. How much of a fear factor was that?
It was no fear because I was naive. I was very naive and once again being selfish. So I thought I had this thing worked out. I'm going to be a better daddy than my daddy was. Matter of fact, I'm going to be a better stepdaddy than my stepdaddy was. I'm going to do a much better job. And I had the assumption that his mother was going to be a better mother than my mother. I assumed she looked at being a parent the same way that I did. She was young and naive too. Both of us were young. So I didn't, the programming I've had was all messed up. You know, that's what's so important for you to have good nurturing and then have quality time and examples of people to show you how things go. You know, coming from a split home, you know, that started a little dysfunction. But then, you know, you got to have an example of what a successful marriage looks like. The sacrifices that had to be made. And also the place you need to be in life before you even bring children into this world. See, most young adults, you know, being that you had Tiffany and Cassandra and me, we had children when we were young. We didn't realize that, you know, hey, we wasn't done being young. We had yet to experience life. We had yet to learn anything, go out here and find out what was what before we started having to provide for somebody else. We provided for children and we haven't even provided for ourselves yet. But we missed out on a whole learning process and growth process. But naively, who would have thought that was necessary? I thought when you turn 18, you graduated high school, you were able to vote. When you turn 21, you get alcohol and all those things. And me said, you grown.
Yeah.
And when you grown, you think you can be a parent. But then all of a sudden you get with somebody and you find out, you know what? She doesn't have the same standard that I have. She doesn't believe in education the way that I do. I got to leave work to go up to the school because she said she don't do school conferences. What the hell? I got children by this woman? But see, that's what happened when you got a young mind. And then at the same time, you are brought up in a dysfunctional environment and you learn to cope dysfunctionally. See, the thing is, most of us probably had to adapt and cope with the best way we could. And most times when you adapt and cope with a certain way that's dysfunctional, but it works, you're going to think that's the right way to do it because it worked. It got you through to the next day. It got you a little bit of daylight. So, you know, the little bit of daylight that I did have made me believe I was ready to be a father.
Wow.
Little did I know, it's a whole lot more involved in it. I didn't even get a chance to grow and get therapy for all the dysfunctional training and programming that I had. You know, my father never put his hands on a woman. My father never was big on being violent and aggressive. He was always a peacemaker. Me, I like to knock people out and shoot at them. Where I get that from? Where did that anger come from? Now, all of a sudden, when I get with my children, I get a little frustrated and angry. I act like somebody else, but I don't act like my daddy.
Yeah.
I'm acting like my stepdaddy and his mama. So, you know, I wasn't ready. I didn't realize that I needed therapy. And so, you know, at a young age, there was no fear because I was too naive to understand that I was too damaged to be a leader and a father at that time.
Wow. Leonard, what do you say to that, brother? The fear factor, man. You're going to be a dad, Leonard. You're gonna be responsible for this little person right here, man. All responsibility is on you. Was there a fear factor?
It wasn't a fear factor for me. I was a grown man, so I just had to make a lot of adjustments to prepare. That was my thing, is getting things together and preparing to be a father. So it wasn't. I didn't have time to be scared about nothing. It was just another thing that I was going to do as a man that was expected of me as well. So I know how to take care of a kid, you know, and things like that. It was more so I was more concerned about providing and things of that nature. So, you know, but I think one of the only differences with me is that when I had a child, that was my number one priority. And it still is to this day. My children are my number one priority.
Absolutely.
So
Now,
that was kind of different.
Now let me ask you this. You say you knew, but was it different? Knowing is one thing, but when it's your baby, when it's your responsibility, when everything falls to you, were you all the way prepared?
Yeah, I didn't have to do nothing. She did. I was tending to her. She's the one having the baby. She's the one whose body and all that is going to change and all through that process or whatever. So I spent all the time really just trying to make her comfortable and make sure she had what she wanted.
That's good.
I don't. I have the ability to set everything about me aside. Now I don't know if other people have that, but I'm a little bit more of a fanatic about it, probably.
Good deal. Let me see who I got now. Tucson, you there?
Yes, sir.
Tucson, now your first baby. About to have your first baby, man. Was there a fear factor there? You're going to be responsible for this child, this life. Was there a fear factor?
No, I don't know. Now I'm like, I don't know about fear factor. Kind of excited. And then trying to get to the point where I just do the right thing to prepare for it. Other than that, I had to make sure that I was able to do my part. And that was make sure that we had roof over our head, food to eat, supplied the things that we needed. It was a girl. And that's actually my only daughter. I say only daughter. Because when you have other people come along the way with children, that changes things. Anyway, actually, my first wife passed, and with her and the rest of them, you always have to make sure that you try to do the right thing.
Yes, absolutely.
All you can to make sure that they didn't go without. And then trying to prepare for them to have necessary things. You don't want to give them everything they need because you're not teaching them nothing. Everything they want because you're not teaching them anything. So the main thing is have the right mindset set and then doing the right thing to make sure that they will provide. That was my only concern.
That's good. Willa, good morning. How you doing this morning?
Good morning, Raheem. Good morning, Morning Glow team.
Okay. Well, we asking a question. What has being a parent taught you most about yourself?
Well, what it's taught me is that when you have children, then your life, as far as I don't want to say it's over, but your life now is more children. I'm just going to say if you're a real good parent, because when I was 15 years old, I had my son, and like I said, I really didn't have any experience with being a parent, and yeah, I was fearful. I was fearful, first of all, about having a baby. and then second when the baby got here. But I thank God that my mother and my grandmothers were still living at that time. So they were a very good support system for me. But when I was raising, while I was there with my children, I realized that I was still in high school. I was still in high school, trying to graduate high school, which I did. I continually went to school, graduated, and I worked on the weekends at McDonald's. But during that time, because it was a financial process as well, so it kind of made me grow up quicker than I wanted to do, because I missed out on a lot of. I look back on my life and I missed out on a lot of, teenage things that I would have wanted to do if I didn't have a baby. But I thank God that my baby was there. It didn't stop me because I graduated. Then 5 years later, I had another baby. So obviously, it wasn't that dramatic because all my kids are 5 years apart, and I have 3 kids. But it did. I did grow up. I wasn't. I'm gonna say that I was a little selfish, because I did things around my kids that, I could say right now, my youngest son, he brings that up constantly. I was on the phone talking to my sister, and he said that he asked me to help him read, and I didn't pay any attention to him. So now he feels neglected from the that he can't read. But you're 39 years old. Stop using that as an excuse. You know what I'm saying? Grow up and, you could go back to school and read. So it made me now be able to teach my children how to be a better parent. Because even with that, my husband, because we got married when I was 20 and had my second baby, he, came from the South with no example of being a man, no man ever being not a real man in his life. So his mother did what she did, and he had to literally grow up on his own. So he really didn't even know how to instill those manly things, those fatherly things in his children, and he got caught up in the world. So it was tough. So it did teach me a lot. So I thank God I am where I am today. I'm much better than I was when I was 15.
Wow, that's good. Tiffany Real, what's on your heart, sister? It's a lot going on, man. This topic is real good because it pulling back a lot of layers on a lot of different things. Tiffany, what's on your heart?
There are no perfect parents, and no matter what you do, children, it's like when Rico was talking about hot fire, you don't know, you can tell your children the best, do everything you think is right. But until they go out in the world and they explore life and see how it really works, that's how they learn that what is real and what's not. And one thing that I've always done, I prided myself, is I always told my children the truth about anything. I sat down, I would watch movies with them. Like, when my children were young, I watched New Jack City with them. And I showed them, you see this guy with all this money and stuff like that, but look at Pookie, look at everybody around him. Everybody died. You know what I'm saying? So this is why you don't do X, Y, Z. You see Pookie the crackhead or whatever, you see that face, you remember that face. You don't want to be looking like that. I always watch things with them, and I spoke to them about those things. And so, I always tell them the truth, whether it hurts or not, so that when they go out into the world, they can see it for themselves, because the truth will always present itself. And I remember my son, he's now 19 in college, and he used to say, "Mom, you're magic." And I said, "What do you mean?" He said, "You said such and such and such and such." And he'd go out and he'd see it, and he'd say, "Oh my God, how did you know?" Blah, blah, blah. You know what I'm saying? Because I always told him the truth. And like I said, the truth will always present itself. And one thing about me, I always gave them a safe space. You can tell me anything. Like, and as long as you're right, I'm with you 110%. But if you wrong, you on your own, because I didn't raise you like that. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
And they know that. So being a parent is interesting. It's a learning process, and we think that they need us the most when they're little. No, they need us the most when they get older, because they spend 18 years being a child, and then they're at 18, the society tells them they're now an adult. But now they got to figure out who they are as an adult, and they tend to lean on you a little bit more. And then
Yeah.
you start feeling like Dr. Phil, like, why are you calling me?
Mhm.
But they need you. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So it's a lifelong process.
And it never stops. It never stops. Like I have 4 daughters, man. I love them dearly, but they're Daddy, what about this, or what about that, or what about this? What, y'all grown now? Oh,
Mm-hmm.
y'all grown. What?
Mm-hmm.
But like I say, it's a beautiful thing, though. It's a beautiful thing that they, to me, it's a beautiful thing that they include me, and when they're making
Yes.
a decision or something like that in their life, and they include me in it.
Yes.
That's like, oh man, I must have done something right.
Something right.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
because now they're grown adults, and they're still including me in their decision making process. So that's the best part of it for me. Rico, what's on your heart, brother?
So I was thinking about what Dawn said earlier
Mm-hmm.
about that less is being less about fear and more about excitement. And that I can remember being so excited. That probably was the biggest emotion that I had, because I was anxious to see how he was going to look.
Mm-hmm.
Man, I was glad to be a part of naming him and this and that, man.
Yeah.
I remember having dreams of what he looked like.
Mm-hmm.
Just anxious, man. I can't wait till he come out, man. You know, ain't nothing more exciting than watching this new life, your son or daughter come into this world.
Exactly.
Going through that process.
Mm-hmm.
And I had, I was thinking about the moves I was making at that time for him. I remember I was went and bought a trailer, 19 years old, went and bought a trailer cash. Was working. I was gonna put her through college. And when she got finished going to college, then I was gonna go ahead and go back to college, and just had the whole game plan laid out.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Naive. Didn't realize that, really and truly, it ain't no book written to this thing.
Mm-hmm.
You can have expectations and desires, but it doesn't mean that it's gonna work out that way.
Exactly.
But see, I wasn't prepared for that part of it. That's why I was naive at too.
Mm-hmm.
Because I was gullible. I was on the euphoria of having a family finally. Imagine being on your own since 11 years old. Like I said, I was raised by my grandmother, but I still, I could run circles around her.
Mm-hmm.
Because technology and things had changed so much that she couldn't keep up with me. And really and truly, the only thing she could really do was just make sure I was clothed and fed.
Mm-hmm.
Because we couldn't relate on certain things. Rap music, for example, think about it, she couldn't sit down and talk about the music that I was listening to. So, I went into that thing with, I'm going to say, misinformed mindset on what it would take to have a family and what you needed to actually look for to have a successful family.
Exactly.
So, it was like trying to turn a whore into a housewife type of mindset, overlooking certain things, thinking too much with your emotions and overlooking logic, all this based off of how I was raised up and how I felt. See, it was still a little boy inside of me that was thinking, even though I felt like I was a grown man. Learning to be a man and learning how to cope and adjust and adapt and do all the things that I did on my own, not having big brothers or uncles or father or stepfather really to show me the way I needed to go. Nobody to defend me with bullies. I had to find out how to defend myself. I was shooting at people with BB guns at a young age. Don't mess with me. You bigger than me. I ain't got nobody to take care of me. I'm out here by myself. That's the way I did it. So that mindset, that dysfunctional person, is the same person that felt like he had it figured out when it came time to have children. So after having children, that's when I realized then, you know what, Rico? You wasn't ready. You needed some work.
Wow.
This ain't working out too good for you. You're doing it, all this stuff is going the wrong way, but you had good intentions. Why isn't it working out the right way? But then I thought about it and I realized
Some of my programming was dysfunctional, but that was my programming, and I went in and I implemented it. I used that same thought process, that same misinformation. So, you know, that was one of the things that I really learned after becoming a parent.
Exactly.
Most of all, I needed to be more patient. A lot more patient. I needed to be in a better place, but you know, at the same time, you just can't go in thinking that you know everything is going to work out the best way that you plan on it to work out. You got to expect the unexpected.
Exactly. Some of those closed doors you got to open, brother. Some of them closed doors you definitely got to open. Badger, what's on your heart?
Well, I was sitting here thinking, you know, I'm teaching my kids about judgment and hate because it's an unfortunate truth that in society they're going to have to deal with it. You know, if they're going to want long hair, they're going to have to deal with people saying that they're girls and all kinds of negative junk. So, you know, my oldest son is autistic. People have a stereotype when it comes to autistic people. He's going to have to deal with that kind of judgment from other human beings. So I just do my best to be honest with them all the time. We don't lie about Santa Claus. We don't lie about the tooth fairy and things like that. We tell them what Christmas represents and what Santa Claus represents. And we don't sit there and pretend that it's just man flying around on a sleigh. Because to me, we're just teaching them about lying.
Exactly.
So we do our best to be honest all the time. If we're upset or sad or things like that, we also try to, you know, let them know that it's okay to have emotions and it's okay to talk about it. But it's how you do it. Do you do it in a respectful manner or are you doing it in a mean manner? If you can't say something nice, then wait and then talk with your brother or me or mama. You know, so we work very hard at being very open and letting our kids know what freedom is.
That's good.
It's, to me, there's just a lot involved because we're not living like we did in some places, maybe, but back then where community helped raise a child. Nowadays, it's hard to trust other people with your kids.
Exactly.
So it's, you know, you either move or find people that you know you can trust, or you're spending, you know, the parents are spending all of their time raising the kids on their own. The society is just in a weird spot. And just in general, even in public schools, you know, they have to deal with bullying and all kinds of things like that. And I want to make sure that they understand that it's going to happen. There's nothing they can do that's going to stop every single person from being mean to them.
Absolutely.
There's always a mean person out there in one way, shape, or form.
And that's the unfortunate part. You're absolutely right. Toussaint, what's on your heart, brother?
I try to my best to try to let them make their decisions and support them. Whatever decision they make. I remember the coach, my son was playing football, and he was pretty good at it. And the coach told him, you know that's your ticket to college. You don't continue to play football, you ain't gonna make it to college. He said, well, I quit. So here we are with his decision. So what we did was support it. Whatever you feel that you do, be the best you. Every one of them. Tell them that. Be the best you, that you make some wise decisions. If you make a mistake, we're going to back you whatever 100%.
Yeah.
Stay out of trouble. Keep your nose clean. Literally and you know.
Figuratively. Figuratively. Yeah.
Yeah, please keep your nose clean, literally, because who likes to look at not his nose children?
Lord Jesus. Okay. Now, see, we're doing so good. We're doing so good, brother.
You know, I had to be nobody. I said be nobody. But you know what I mean? There's some kids, and then I say that because look, they got people all over the world that talk about, oh, you know, I got just 100 children and stuff like that, and you see the kids make their nose clean. Not their nose is not clean. That's your responsibility to make sure that their nose is clean, that they present themselves in a way that they would be good for society and to be able to communicate.
Tucson.
And don't give people reasons to disrespect you.
Tucson.
So anyway,
Tucson.
Daddy.
Tucson.
Yes, bye.
How we get to talk about nasty noses, man?
I like that, Tucson. I like that. You're right, Tucson. I like what Tucson said.
Okay, Leonard, what's on your heart, brother? We're going to get out of here. Leonard, close us out, brother.
I like what Tucson said. Wipe these kids' noses. Wipe their noses.
Lord.
Because that tells a lot about you as a parent. The child's nose is nasty all the time, and he licking and digging in it and rubbing it all over the I think that we should go back to the point is you don't want nobody to look at your children and say, you know what? Them kids ain't got no home training. You tell kids they ain't got no home training. That's very important. Home training is very important. And just think, you know, I never desired to be a single parent. One, I do believe that it's for two people, and it's best if the two people that made them can do it. I believe that's the natural structure of things. But I want people to think about what I said in the beginning. Having a child ain't gonna never make it better. Ever. Having a baby makes nothing better.
A family reunion.
It's
got to have
work.
family reunion.
It's a long time job.
Family reunion.
And
God
please don't be singing like that to you. Because then they may think that they can sing and want to live in your house until they get a hit. And they gonna be with you forever if they singing like Raheem.
What are you trying to say, man? What you really trying to say, brother? Let's put this in on the table, man. A family reunion.
Oh my goodness! But I really think that it was a great show today, and that a lot of people can learn something from today's show just by listening at other people. Because, like you say, you don't have no 100% guarantee. I don't care how well a home you provided, and there's no 100% guarantees.
Yeah.
So you have to always, like my mom and my brother used to say, prayer. I believe in prayer, and because I can tell you, I think Donald said it. One thing he learned is about how close his relationship with God was, and I can attest to that. More than anything else in the world, it will let you know who is on your side.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And where you can get a lot of counseling and help, and that's from the Holy Spirit to lead and guide you to raise your child that way. And I'm just so blessed, and I never take that for advantage, that for the short time that I had, my father and my mother were Christian people, and that they raised me as such.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Rico, what's going on today, brother, at 3 o'clock? At 3 o'clock.
Well, if you missed today's broadcast and would like to hear it or see it in entirety, you can tune in at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on www.bkmmediagroup.com.
Hey, Rico, when I said 3 o'clock, did it mess you up a little bit, man?
Yep.
You're just trying to say a word, man. Sound like you're trying to say Shri at the same time you're saying that word. I'm like, oh Lord.
Sure. Sounded Alex.
I'm like, Lord. I believe I got it with that one. Hey, that's good, man. That's good. Willow.
Hey, Raheem.
You know what?
Ready?
You know what time it is. You ready?
Yes, Lord. Yes, Lord. I am ready.
Let's do it.
Amen. Father God in heaven, as we come to your throne with boldness and confidence, Lord, Father, we thank you for allowing us to get up this morning to see another day, a day of opportunity, Lord, a day to learn more and more and more about your word, Lord. Father, we thank you for allowing the Holy Spirit to dwell within us, Lord. Touch each and every last one that's on this line, Lord. Father, you see hearts, Lord. And whatever their heart's desires are, Lord, Father, I'm asking you to answer their prayers, oh Lord. Continually to allow Raheem to be successful with his Morning Glow Crew show. Father, I love you so much. And I thank you, Lord. If I had 10,000 tongues, I couldn't thank you enough. I thank you for your wisdom, your guidance, and your understanding, Lord. Thank you for allowing us to get understanding, clear understanding on how to be a parent, Lord, how to be a better person, Lord. Father, we thank you so much. And we're in Christ Jesus' name. Amen. Amen and amen.
Amen. Amen. Cassandra, are you there? Let me see. Is Cassandra still there? Oh, we just lost Cassandra. I was going to say something to Cassandra, but I'm gonna tell you something, Willa. When you pray, sister, I could tell when you're going to do a good prayer. And when you say the Holy Spirit, I said, oh my God, she about to go in. She about to go in. I said, oh my Lord, she about to go in now. She said, the Holy Spirit. I said, oh my Lord.
Holy Spirit.
Yes, ma'am. I was like, oh.
That's what leads us, guides us, and give us some directions, just like Charles said.
There you go. Absolutely. Absolutely. Man, listen, Tiffany Real, you got something on your heart? I see you over there. You got something on your heart? Tiffany Real. Yeah, she go all 3 or 4 different screens, but can't get to the right screen. They push the doggone button. Look at that. I'll be ashamed yourself. I'll be ashamed of you. Tiffany Real, can you hear me? You might be frozen. Rico, anything on your heart before we get out of here, brother?
No, man. Great show. Great show, man. Just waiting to get on to the next.
Yes, sir. Let's do it. It is now 10:08. I want to thank everybody for joining us. And more than that, I want to thank you for allowing DK Media Group and Associates and the Morning Glow for being a part of your morning. It is now 10:08. You're about to exit the Morning Glow. But before you go, I want you to do me 2 favors, if you will. 1, I want you to continue to pray for us because we're certainly praying for each and every one of you. Number 2, why this is real simple. I want you to go out there, find somebody and give them a hug because you never know. It could be the only hug that they get, or it could very well be their last. Love you, and ain't nothing you could do about it. Have a great day and a better tomorrow. And then we shine some of this light in you from the Morning Glow. Take it out there into this wicked and cruel world that we live in and let your light so shine. If you get an opportunity, give somebody some love. You just might find some love in return. Won't that be a beautiful thing? Take care of each other and please be blessed.